with the tan.
He's back.
Sure.
We're back.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back now, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Yes,
How was the vacay?
It was good, man.
Yeah?
We had lots of fun. It was some nice sun. Traded some bava, too.
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah,
We saw.
I saw that. Yeah, right from the balcony, so you can wake up. And, yeah, that's it. But we're going to send it off to Adara real quick, guys.
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that, guys. We actually have two Intel catalysts coming out at virtually the same time. So one is actually directly from the company. That is going to be apparently, as mentioned here, Intel unveiling a new leadership AI networking solution here with this Xeon here, 6 processors. So processor announcement here from INTC. Now here's the other catalyst, which I think is pretty interesting too. Around the same time, both of these news catalysts came out 1 minute ago. We have Ming-Chi Kuo here, noted supply chain analyst, saying that basically Intel's first Panther Lake engineering samples here made with Intel's and IFS's 18As are currently being tested by major PC makers, but apparently Ming-Chi Kuo's early 2025 industry survey showed that these yields come below 20 to 30%, which means there's a lot of room to step up, saying that doesn't, quote, bode well for Intel, actually making TSMC stand out to Ming-Chi Kuo. So one Intel announcement, another possibly negative catalyst for INTC via supply chain analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. Back to you.
Very much, Adair. We got to do the patented shout out, though. Everybody's like, yo, I'm here. You shout out my name. We got Birdo G. How about Kendall Lopez? Sam L says Yusuf is in the house. His name is Joseph. Shout out to Trejo. Stop saying bad words, Trejo. We got Odyssey Flights. We got Brad Does Real Estate. We got Stuart. Hey, right back at you, bro. We got Kobe the Kid. We got EBZ445. We got Amy Tiger. We got Osama, Marius, Lyman, Gorev, Robert Liu. We got Sean and Neil. Someone's name is Sean and Neil. That's nice. We got Vern. We got 1320. Oh, shout out to Ronaldo, Retro Stocks, Lo-Fi Soul, Tiger, the Cosmic Dang Cat. We got Dino. We got Sean and Neil again, the stock professor. Excuse me. We got we got Mr. Greenfield, Brandon Townsend, Scratch Life, Minnesota Trader, Diggity, Jacobs, T-Dot. I like that one the best. Easy Media, Tough Aldrin. We got even Neil. Neil's in the house. Bob S. Matt G. Bill Pruitt. One more. Kobo, Jiki. No idea what that is, but I like your name. Shout out to everybody. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. It was an interesting weekend here. We kind of lost the really cold spell that we had, which was keeping the insane amount of snow that we had got the week prior very much frozen, very much intact. Joseph, that's all ending this week as things thaw out, and we're going to get rid of that.
Well, yeah, exactly. So now all the water's going to start flooding probably the streets. It's going to be a slushy mess, and that's what happens kind of in these transitional periods, guys. But it is so good to be back. I missed you guys here in the chat. There's no doubt about it. And for those who like Roland, some people were messaging me on Twitter as well too. Sharif saying just have a good trip, be safe, and etc. So guys, thank you for that much love, and I can't be more happy to be back. I love being here with you guys, sitting next to my boy, sitting next to everybody here. So yeah, I mean, I missed the Friday, so thank God. I heard it was hectic. There was blood in the streets. It was absolutely crazy. We have a lesson to do, guys. But first, what we're going to do is talk a little bit of sector rotation. Sharif and I were talking about it this morning, is you want to look for areas of relative strength. Michael Noss did that this morning, going overseas, looking at all those markets as well too, guys. But what do we have over here? And the best performing sector this morning is the healthcare sector, guys. So I pull up XLV. XLV is looking fantastic compared to the rest of the market. Consumer staples, XLV, so the healthcare sector is only up about 0.9%, but the consumer staples is up 0.5%, and I pull up the Walmart chart, and I'm like, oh my days, that does not look good. So I'm curious to where that strength is. We'll dive a little deeper into there. Consumer staples only up 0.5%, and then the real estate sector, you can use XLRE on that one, up about 0.6 there, guys, a little bit more than that. So that's the three strongest. We're going to take a look at some of the weakest ones here, and I think we're going to head with that one, Sharif. So in third last, we have consumer discretionary down about 0.5%, utilities about 0.7 as well, but the tech sector is down over 1%, guys. So if you're looking for those strong sectors, you got to pull up those top performing and see where the money is starting to flow into, my guy.
Yeah, this is a complete, you know what, whooping today, the last couple of days on these here markets. So I hope everybody's practicing safe trading and you're taking some profits as you go along if you're going long, guys. All right, let's do this. We're talking about the 3 inside up and the 3 inside down pattern. This is a reversal pattern here. Chart reversal pattern. Let's get right down to business because we got some trading to do, baby. What is it? What the hell am I talking about here? Well, the term 3 inside up and 3 inside down refers to a pair of candlestick reversal patterns. Underline that, reversal patterns. The pattern requires 3 candlesticks to form in a specific sequence, showing that the current trend has lost its momentum and a move in the other direction might be starting. And there, see what I tell you? See, as soon as he starts going up on the ladder,
that's it.
then you know things are happening. He's measuring, he's doing stuff over here. So if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, we are going to go through some big boy renos in and around this place, and it's already starting, and we could not be more happy because, well, when the show grows, we're happy. So let's talk about this. So dissecting the 3 inside up, 3 inside down pattern. So before jumping into the 2 variations, let's understand some key elements that make this a reversal pattern. First, the trend preceding the pattern. This pattern thrives on established trends. I'm talking about 3 inside up, 3 inside down. It thrives on established trends. A 3 inside up emerges during a downtrend. Remember, this is a reversal pattern, so it's the opposite of the trend that we were previously in. So the 3 inside up emerges during a downtrend, suggesting to you a potential shift towards bullish territory. Conversely, a 3 inside down appears during an uptrend, and it's hinting at a bearish reversal in the coming days or weeks. Okay? Number 2, the inside bar, so to speak, concept. What is this? So the core of this pattern lies in the second candlestick of the 3. So imagine it as a smaller rebel trapped within the larger dominant trend represented by the first candle. The inside bar, which is the second candle, signifies a temporary halt in the preceding trend's momentum. Okay? And number 3 here, the confirmation candle. That's the third, right? The third candlestick acts as the playmaker. May God rest his soul. Ideally, it should entirely enclose the first candlestick's body, similar kind of to the second candle, but crucially, it needs to break free, so to speak, whether to the high side or the downside, depending if it's a 3 inside up or a 3 inside down. So I want to repeat that. Ideally, it should entirely enclose the first candle's body, but crucially, it needs to break free in the opposite direction of the prevailing trend. So a strong close for the third candle, accompanied by increased trading volume. Your boy Joe there would definitely agree with that. Don't want to put words in his mouth, but he loves volume. Accompanied by increased trading volume bolsters the reversal signal. So let's talk about the pattern itself. So the 3 inside up. This is, let's talk about this one first. This is a bullish reversal. So this pattern signals a potential, believe it or not, bullish reversal. Here's how to identify it. Number 1, you're looking first and foremost for a downtrend. Right, this is a reversal pattern. So it's telling you it's a bullish reversal. So what's the pattern that has to precede it? A downtrend. That's number 1. Number 2, you're looking for a large bearish candle to manifest on the chart on whatever time frame you're charting, okay? So the first candlestick is a relatively large bearish candlestick with both a long upper wick and a lower wick. Number 3, you're looking for a bullish inside bar. What does that mean? Specifically, the second candlestick is a much smaller bullish candlestick entirely contained within the first candlestick's body. So it's kind of like an inside day, so to speak, where we're engulfed with the highs and the lows of the previous day. So that's number 3. Number 4, you're now looking for a break upward. So the third bullish candlestick closes above the first day's candlestick high entirely inside its body. I got plenty of charts to show you, so let's get right to it. So there's candlestick number 1 first. So we see the downtrend. So lower lows, lower highs. Then all of a sudden, we kind of, throw in an inside day. So that's number 1. Number 2, you kind of get that second candlestick is a smaller bullish candlestick entirely contained within the first one's body, and then you get that number 3 to the breakout side there. Again, you kind of have the same look there, the 3 inside up variant. So it can look multitude of different ways. this is some of the ways that the 3 inside up variant can look. I'm sure there are more than this, but I just want to kind of show you some of these possibilities. And then there are different rules that you can start placing for this one. For example, it has to close above, I'm talking about the second candle or the first candlestick, sorry. It has to close 50% above the first candlestick's halfway mark, for example. And then again, you can add all these different rules. I don't subscribe to much of these rules. It helps narrow down, obviously, your entries and exits. And then the entry the book suggests would be above the second candlestick's pattern there. You know, I mean, your entry is really going to depend on how aggressive or non-aggressive you are. I mean, lots of different traders would take the first 5-minute or the first candle to make a new high on a closing basis. Some other traders would wait for the second day to close and then wait for the third day to close or to move above the second day's high. I happen to subscribe to getting in on the close of the second day, but that's just kind of my little 2 cents there. So let's talk about the 3 inside down pattern. It's kind of the same thing, but in the opposite. So the pattern signals a potential bearish reversal. Here's the breakdown. Number 1, we're looking for an uptrend. So this is the exact opposite of the previous one, right? We're looking for an uptrend. So this pattern has to appear when we're on our way up, making higher highs and higher lows. Number 2, you're looking for a large bullish candle. So the first candlestick is a relatively large bullish candlestick with wicks on both sides. And then number 3, you're looking for that bearish inside bar. So the second candlestick should be a smaller bearish candlestick entirely contained within the first candlestick's body. And number 4, we're looking for the breakout or the breakdown, sadly downward. The third bearish candlestick closes below the first candle's low entirely inside of its body. And that's kind of what we're looking at there. You can take a screenshot if you like. And then some key points to remember as we wind down the lesson. As always, confirmation is key. Increased trading volume on the third candlestick, on the third one, strengthens the reversal signal. And there's not, it obviously goes without saying, it's not a guarantee. This pattern is a signal indicator. Use it with other technical analysis tools for more informed trading decisions. And last but not least, false signals are an ever-present danger in mostly everything we do with trading, right? But in this pattern in particular. So the pattern can sometimes be misleading. So practice is crucial, and make sure you are using other technical analysis indicators to help guide your trading. You know what I'm going to say, baby? I hope everybody prints up a storm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, good stuff there, Sharif.
Yes,
I like that pattern. I couldn't agree more with you there. So I like that setup, just waiting for that other candle to open above the range and then look to join it on that front, guys. But here we are. Let's pull up and see what we got cooking up this morning. We tried a couple attempts here on Palantir. And you know what? Over my vacation, I was looking at some TA1s, and then Friday morning, I was just like, I opened my laptop, and then I'm like, you know what? I got palm trees and blue ocean in front of me, so let me put this away for a little bit. And then sure enough, I come back, and everybody's like, dude, did you see Friday? Did you see Friday? And I'm like, no. And I pull up my charts, and I'm like, oh, okay. There was a lot of blood in the streets. So one thing we will do throughout the show is we're going to talk about the VIX and some put to call ratios as well, too, because I think that's going to be really important. I mentioned something last week on the put to call ratio, and then we're going to see where that leads us to as of right now. But here, we got some PLTR cooking up. It's looking pretty good right now. Still down about 10% on the session. So this thing has absolutely been bleeding and over about 20% off of those all-time highs. So that came down with some extreme fears. We talked about the elevator, the escalator down. That was straight out the window, Sharif, from the top floor. That was an absolute monster selling. So I thought the 100 level would be slightly more defended, but that hasn't been the case. We're defending 90s. We're holding really well. You can see this base that we've now established and looking to somewhat bounce on it. Are we going to recover to this 10% on the session? Highly unlikely. I just think it's too weak, especially with how Friday was. I don't think that sellers were completely exhausted just yet, and I was looking for that continuation to the downside or somewhat of a bounce. And it may sound obvious. The market's going to bounce or you're going to continue in that direction. And when you notice that, hey, we're not bouncing as strong as we would like to, it was just seemed to be a liquidity grab, and then we take an additional leg down. So that's something that you need to watch out for. When you have something move so strong in a specific direction, one session, I'm not saying look for that reversion to the other side, but just be prepared that the buying or the opposite party may not be as aggressive as or strong to that direction from the previous session. And here we go again today, selling, selling, selling. So that's a little bit of a tough one here. And that's why I mentioned you got to look for those stronger sectors. Taking longs on these techs may not work all the time, right? Like they're not, like even though we know that they're the most liquid, we like to trade them a lot. When you run your scanners in the morning from a volume standpoint, that they usually tend to pop up because the liquidity is there. But what we have to do is kind of divert from that and then look for other strong sectors. And that's why I pulled up XLV and looking through there. I got to see what's strong in XLP, the staples sector, because Walmart is really, really weak and Costco is weak as well too. So we got to dive a little bit more and find what is strong, guys. But here we go with some Palantir, continuing up to VWAP. I know Gorev and Los Pollos were telling me, hey, Joe, look at the overall market. We got some signals here near the bottom, and I'm like, yeah, okay, you guys are right. Let's see if we get that slow turnaround. And sure enough, we are somewhat starting to recover to the volume-weighted average price. But that volume is dwindling, and I think that's really, really important. We're going to take a little bit more off the top here. Sharif, we got cooking.
Sir. All right, I got nothing cooking, but I'm trying to work in to some small cap gappers. There's a lot of small cap gappers today, but none are setting up in the way that I like. Let's talk about them. So the biggest, the baddest of them all, Joseph, ATCH, okay? It's up 323%, and after the open, after the bell that is, it's up another 150%. So this is a big boy mover. I've already got a couple of dip trades set up on this one. I'm looking for VWAP. I'm not going to give in right now and try to get in at the 20 exponential. This doesn't seem to me like one of those stocks that's going to hold up here. If it holds up, fantastic at the 20 exponential. I got it wrong. I'll be the first to admit that. So I'm waiting at 850 and 8.25. I don't know exactly if it dips into that 8.25. VWAP is dynamic. Right now it's at 8.25. Maybe when it makes its way down, it's not, so it doesn't end up hitting it. And we've talked about buyer exuberance. Where buyers see this thing up 320%, they start punching in a little bit higher than VWAP. Well, because they're exuberant, right? So that's why I'm throwing one out at 8.5. The stop below 750. So I'm going to have to give it $1. This thing's a nutcase, and it's trading like a nutcase. Yeah, get it, Adara. By the way, we're going to have to go to Adara at some point. She's going to have to tell us about that trade. Sorry, Adara. So I'm waiting at 8.5, 8.25. That's where I'm waiting right now on ATCH. Show yourself. There we go. So it's an absolute monster on the day, but it's very volatile. Please be careful with this one because, you know, you can get wiped out pretty aggressively on ATCH. You got a bunch of other ones, man. You got over here. Let's talk about the second biggest name on the day, SPCE. This one, though, we're going to have to trade carefully. And the reason is, look at that pre-market high, baby, at 3 1/3. Well, I ain't touching this unless it takes out that 3 1/3. I won't. I don't care how aggressively it gets. It's halted, as I can see right now, to the upside at 261. Good for it. I won't trade it until it breaks above that 3 1/3. I've made this case before. I'll make it again. There are usually bag holders from that elevated level in the pre that keep this thing down. So we got to get through all those bag holders for us to have that parabolic effect to the high side that we typically see with these small cap gappers. And I'll submit to you, I'm not trading it until we clear that pre-market high. So STEC is on watch, but I will not touch it until and if we get above that that pre-market high there. Let's talk about some more. Show yourself.
Show yourself.
Why isn't this thing showing itself, Joseph? Let's find out over here what the hell's going on. Restore. There it is. Okay, good to go. All right, so we talked about ATCH. We talked about SPEC. There's another one. There's more. There's a lot more, obviously, but I want to talk about RILY. Riley. This thing is not up big. It's only 30%, give or take, a little bit more than that. But look at this beautiful pattern. It is breaking out to the high side. We've taken out the pre-market high. We're above VWAP. Look at this thing go. It's about to take out the high again. 4.5 right now. IRLY. It's a big boy mover on the day. I don't know what the hell. It's up 4. I don't really care. I'll look later when things slow down. But I want to set up on this one likely into the 10 exponential, which right now is at 420. It keeps breaking out. Every time I look at this, it's 10 cents higher than it was before. So RILY on watch as well. This is a big boy mover. There was more. There was ATPC. So this one was another big one. Well, when I sat down and started looking at these, and again, it took out the pre-market high. That was that $2 area on ATPC. This is up 51%. But look at this, triple top on the 5-minute, can't break that 2 1/4 on a closing basis, and then all hell breaks loose. It drops from 2 1/4 down into 1 1/3. That brings it down below the volume weighted average price, which right now is at 1 2/3. So it's going to have to work its way well above that 1 2/3 and stay above VWAP for me to get involved. Otherwise, I won't touch it. Let's keep going over here. There's another one. We talked about that one. Yeah, this one's good. There's PEPG. This one, yeah, it's kind of breaking down as well below VWAP. This is up 83% still. At that $2.50 area. It was up much more when it was up at 4.5. So this thing gave up VWAP as well. VWAP right now at 340. So PEPG gonna have to work its way back above the volume weighted average for me to get involved with this one. But there's a lot going right now. I have a feeling there's gonna probably be more that show up onto the scene. Another one that I'm keeping an eye on, if it's able to recover above VWAP, YYAI. This one was also quite aggressive in the pre-market as well, made the high there in the pre. Okay, so this made its high in the pre-market. So this is trouble. So this has a 213 or 212 high there right at 915. So this didn't even care about the bell. It continued to make newer lows. I see that it's holding up here at that dollar area, which is fine. It's a different trade at $1, north and south of that dollar. For my system, though, it's going to have to work above that $1.45. That's number one. And then number two, because this is the pre-market high right here at 212, it's going to have to break 212, which might be a tall order for me to ask of YYAI. It's getting shellacked right now to the downside, despite the fact that it was up big on the day. So I'm going to keep my eyes on those, but it's the Riley show right now, Joseph. RILY is exploding to the high side. We're talking about this one at 4.5.
Wow.
Check that, bro. That was 30 pennies ago, Joseph.
I got to pull this up.
Yeah, this is taking out highs. RILY. On one night right now, Joseph.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there, Sharif. I got to pull that up myself because that thing is moving really, really aggressively to the top side. So speaking of top performers, he goes by the name of Connor McDavid, and that's all I'm going to say here, guys. As we continue, that's all. That's it. It's done. It's really quiet in the chat now about that game. I missed that. So here we go, guys. PLTR continuing to climb higher. So this is what we're looking for. If we can break through VWAP, then we're going to be sitting on some pretty pennies, and we like that. So continuing to climb. Let's see if we can break it here, and I'm going to look for more things with relative strength, guys. Let's see what else everybody is looking at. Yeah, okay, I'm going to pull up Google because I want to talk about this. Gorev and I were looking for shorts on this name, but unfortunately it just hasn't come to fruition like we would want to. And I enter this trade already, and I'm like, oh, okay, after that blood red session that I seen on Friday, I'm going to have to look to exit this real quick because we are breaking through some key zones, and we need to keep that in mind, guys. So really what I did here is I entered, I'll pull this up. I'll pull this up. I entered in around here, okay? So, yeah, pull it. Yeah.
You just came back from Jamaica too, bro?
Exactly, yeah. So a lot of that. A lot of pull up and forward, that's for sure. But here we go, guys. I entered here with the stop setting around here, but it just blew past it, so I'm going to have to reassess it. It eliminated some. I didn't readjust the orders, and now heading a little bit south. It's not very good because we are now running into some key prior resistance levels, and we have to focus on that because if there's going to be more downside, I don't want any more part of that. But let's see what Adair's up to, guys. Let's go PLTR.
Get it.
NVIDIA earnings are on Wednesday. This is going to be a huge event. So I'm going to be preparing a couple TTV research infographics ahead of that report. So NVIDIA's color, as we know, much like my outfit today, is green. We've got this fun green background here, like the NVIDIA logo. And here's its Q3 2024 holdings according to its 13F versus the next quarter here, Q4 2024. Applied Digital didn't change. Neither did Recursion, but they actually cut their holdings in ARM a little bit here. Serve, Sound, and NanoX Imaging, as we know, were axed entirely, but they added positions in Nebius and WeRide. We got these holdings, I guess, now about a week and a half ago on February 14th. So if you want to know a little bit more about how these compare on a quarterly basis, check this out on X at TTV Research. So these numbers are millions of shares. More detail here at the top of this graphic. Go on X at TTV Research. Back to the Bash Brothers.
It's a great look there, dude.
Yeah. It's actually I'm loving it. I'm glad that she did that too, because I was like, hey, Adair, you want to work on that one, and then bang, next day. I know it was done with the trades that we were putting on, but yeah, here we got our top picks. Sorry, that is. All right, guys, let's take a look at some. We're gonna talk a little options here and just see what the overall market is and see what we got cooking up. So I think it's really important. I was talking about this the other day, is that we want to see what the volatility index is up to, and I did a little segment and we were talking about it being a buyer's market. Okay, but it's like, okay, well, Joe, everything was selling for sure, but you can buy puts, right? Like, you can buy these contracts, and I think it's really important to understand that when you are looking for a specific direction, right, you want to pay the littlest amount of premium as possible, and that opportunity was a rise, but now it's kind of surpassed. So if you were to get into those options previously, if you were buying puts a couple days ago, last Tuesday to be exact, then if you haven't sold off like the rest of the market, you're strictly making premiums off of the increase of the implied volatility. So what we want to do here is we see that spike in the VIX here over the past couple sessions, starting from last Friday and then heading into today as well, guys. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. But one thing that is really important is we want to take a look at the PCR, the put to call ratio, and see what's going on. So what we want to look at it from an average, because a 1-to-1 isn't always realistic. So I guess the median and what everybody gauges, that rule of thumb is 0.7, Sharif. So now we've exceeded that, and now we're sitting around 1.5 here on the put to call ratio. So what does that tell us? More traders, more investors are buying puts, whether it be just long or hedge positions. So if you're looking to join that part, you're going to be in the right direction. Yeah, the market slowly looks like it's going to recover, but is everything going to turn around in one day? I don't know. I spoke about the momentum in the market to the downside, and it may continue. I could be totally wrong, but you just kind of want to follow where the big money is going. And as of right now, it's to the put side, guys. So really keep that in mind. I know a lot of people in the chat saying they had some puts and some other thing along those lines. So congratulations to you, and continue to hold even though we are pulling back right now. But one thing I also want to talk about, and what we are really cooking up here, Sharif, is PLTR. It's the only name that we're in, so we broke through VWAP now, looking like we're over $2 in the money on that front. Hey. So yeah, let's go. So 91.06 is our thing, and then here we go, bang, 93, gonna push up to 94. But I mean, this guy's gonna drop. This guy's gonna drop the Jamaican accent the whole time. But here we go. Here we go. Let's pull it up and see what we got going on from a daily perspective, and just see from a percentage standpoint what's really going on with this name, because that is a hefty sell-off. Sharif was talking, he was like, Joseph, I think I should buy some puts. And I'm like, man, I don't think you're wrong, dude, because we are so extended. When you have this massive gap up here and then just the continuation with no real pullback or any healthy pullback, you're going to get a reaction that's probably going to be overdone, because that's what the market likes to do. It overreacts in some directions here. So here we go. From the peak to the bottom here, 28%. That is not fun if you bought up here at 125s or whatever. I mentioned before, I thought that we were going to hold the 100 level significantly better, but that wasn't the case. We drop another 14 or 15%. So will Palantir turn around? I think so eventually. Dan Ives loves Palantir. He still thinks it's one of the purest AI plays. And we're talking about the multiple. Trading extremely high, Sharif. I believe you said, 180 times, I believe you said, forward earning.
60-something.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty expensive, right? But then we also got to take into consideration maybe multiple expansion with a company in this type of growth cycle, which I think is really, really important. So we're going to keep an eye on Palantir. It might be one of the plays of the day. One thing you got to keep in mind, it has been in play for an extended period of time, Sharif, and stocks like this don't always stay in play. So expect for, and I'm not saying it's going to be any time soon. It can go on for a year. It can go on for however long. But when it's that in play, eventually expect it to dwindle off. Look what happened to AMD. I'm not. I shouldn't compare apples to oranges here. But again, it happens that you get that sector rotation. You get those hands changing out of certain stocks. And eventually, I think that's going to be the case here in PLTR, because it's been in play for an extended period of time, and it traded significantly higher than what it probably should have been.
All right, man. We're involved right now with Riley. It's going to have to hold up here at the 10 exponential. The 10 exponential is showing me 4 1/4, 4 1/3. I was just exuberant. I'm one of those buyers who was exuberant that I always complain about. But this looked to me like it was setting up for a possible bull flag, despite the fact that we got in at highs. I'm 9 pennies out of the money right now. It's going to have to work its way up back above into that $0.75 for me to take any profits right now. So it's showing me 62s. I've got 69s on. Let's see if it works its way up. I've layered my orders to take advantage of a price spike up. Now, we've seen this one really break out from that 4 1/3 or wherever it was trading in and around there. There we go. Now we're breaking to the high side. So we just got filled at 75s there. Let's set up a little bit higher here with some smaller share size to take advantage of that high daybreak. There it is. We take out some more there. Now I'm waiting over here at 82s. It's not forthcoming into 82s. The high of the day, 84s, hence why I'm taking it out at 82. Because in case it rejects that 84 area, I want to be able to de-risk and wet my beak. So right now, showing me 79s. Can we get across into 82s? This is a bit of a I don't want to say it's a bamboozler, but I definitely thought I would be able to get a bit more down over here at 440s. It doesn't really matter, though. We're involved with it now, so let's see if it can work and break to the high side, right? It's up 40%, and I'd like to be able to give you a lot of the details on this, but I just don't want to take my eyes off it for too long because softly volatile. Okay, $145 million market cap with about 5 1/3 million shares traded on the day. Joseph, it has a float of around 16 million, give or take. I don't know what the short float is yet. Allow me to just Google it quickly. Not Google, trade ideas, of course. RILY, what do we got? Okay, wowzers, Adara, 55% short. She just confirmed that it is accurate there. That is a big boy short float, Joseph. Heavily shorted name. Obviously, that gives us the potential, obviously, for explosive movements. But if there's a lot of people who are short, the chances are that they don't want to be out of the money either, so they may want to start punching in short at these levels, and that could present us with a bit of a problem. So I'm keeping my eye out on this one. Don't want to take out too much over here, but it has stalled out for whatever reason at that 475, 480 area. I submitted to you that we had a 484 HOD, but we don't have any closing prints north of 80, and we have one quick perfunctory closing print on the 1 minute above 4 3/4. So I'm inclined to believe that there is a lot of people either taking profits at the $0.75 or getting short aggressively at that level. Now, I haven't charted this one on the daily to kind of make an educated assessment as to where I think the shorts are involved. But this one looks like it's going to drop right now. I just have a feeling because the tape has stopped. Look at that. The tape is barely moving on a name that was doing aggressive volume. So when that happens, I kind of have suspicions that the buyers are starting to dry up here and they're not liking it at this level. And I'm absolutely right. It dips right back down into the 60s. Let's see if the buyers like it up here. No, they don't. So kind of a bit of a problem right now with the 5-minute chart on RILY. I have 3 lower high wicks on RILY on the 5-minute, but by the same token, I have higher lows. So 3 lower highs and 3 higher lows, a bit of a compression pattern. We'll have to see which way this one resolves. If you believe the textbooks, they typically say that the compression pattern resolves in the direction of the trend. As you can see there, we're up 40%, and we were making higher highs and higher lows. How that manifests and what time frame that manifests over, your guess is good as mine. I'm gonna have to pack my patience involved in it. Took some profits, waiting now for that either break or to get filled at 441, where I still have my my dollar cost average there, but it's well below that level now. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. RILY. I'm still looking at other ones though. PEPG. We talked about this one because it was a big on the day. Now this one is working its way back into that volume weighted average price in and around 3.5. So this one could be a big mover if we can get into that 3.5 and hold above 3.5. It's going to have to stay above there. It's not going to be enough for me for just to wick and then move on its merry way. Secondly, I'm also keeping a Y on ATCH. And I just noticed that if I put a W, it's watch, right? So ATCH right now, I'm focusing on this one. I'm waiting for something in and around the volume weighted average price. It's been doing a great hold here at the 20 exponential, but this is awfully volatile. I'm not willing to pick it up at the 20 exponential. If that means missing the trade, then I will miss the trade. It's going to have to come in to a more predictable area to me. That area is, again, around that $8.25, $8. We'll have to wait and see if that comes in. Back to RILY. It's still doing the dance with no pants. It's making lower lows and lower highs right now. So this one does look like it's going to be a 4 3/4, 4 4/5 rejection around that 480 area. What I'm going to keep an eye out, though, is a closing basis break below that 445. So if we break below this area, a trough over here, which was kind of like the middle area of a double top kind of look, then I'll be a little bit concerned. All right, below this area, below this 440 area, we don't have to wait that long for a VWAP retracement because VWAP's at 430. So even though we have an area trough at around 445, 441, VWAP is around 430. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Adair's at the big desk.
We do have CYD here on watch. This company's called Yuchai. They are a Chinese ADR, about an 8%, or sorry, not 8%, about 8 million share float here. No catalyst from today, but on Thursday, apparently they announced a strategic agreement with this company, Kim Long Motor Hughes. So Kim Long Motor Hughes strategic agreement here with CYD. Also, I was asked about earlier, so this was the MSCR, basically just shorter into the 298s versus 299s. This, here's some profit at 281, stopped out at 285s, and then META as well, just same idea, basically low of day, short off the open. So that was, those were the trades. Guys, back to you.
Sure, for sure. All right, guys, let's see what's going on, because a lot of people in the chat were talking about key signals that we go over time and time again, all right? So let's see what this overall market did. So we sold off in the opening drives, extremely weak. 5-minute orb continuing to the downside. But then we have multiple bottoming signals here, guys. Los Polios pointed out, Gorev pointed it out. Other individuals like, hey, Joe, look at this. We have these double signals. But the most important one, in my opinion, is this isolated here. So we got these isolated signatures, exhausting volume, and then turnaround. We had the inability to breach it to the low. So that's like, okay, that's really, really positive. Did it work right away exactly how we wanted to? No. When the market is this week, sometimes things take a little bit longer to turn around, all right? It's not a speedboat, it's a cruise ship. There's a lot of money. It takes a lot of time to turn things around. And here we go. So we had signal 1 and then signal 2, and then now we are trading above the volume weighted average price. So those signals were in play. We talk about them multiple times throughout the week, countless times to be exact. And every time new traders in the chat are like, hey, I see this, and I'm like, exactly, you're looking at the right things, and continue to do so, okay? So that's really, really important. One thing that I really want to point out, and we'll get a little bit better of a look here, guys, on the SPY as well, too. Really important. Zoom in here and look at this. Sell off in the early stages of the session, and then now you have that signal with that indecision candle at an extreme low, and then now we had the inability to breach it, holding really well. You have multiple signals, multiple doji candles on the 5-minute, and then now the market is slowly starting to recover. Let's see if we can come and test these pre-market levels here, these pre-market lows, because I believe that is the next potential target, especially if we can hold this pullback and we can hold the volume weighted average price. Is this a double bottom? Not quite, but it's pretty close. Not everything is going to be exact all the time, so keep that in mind. But for those who are continuing to look out at these signals, that is extremely, extremely important, and I'm glad that you guys are having the ability to take advantage of them, all right? But we got some super chats here that we missed out on, and here we go. Brandon G, $10 super chat. Thank you very much.
Hey.
As a new trader who has failed the last 2 years, I just want to give thanks to the channel and everyone here. No, thank you. I've learned so much and appreciate everything you all do. Best day for me so far.
Bang.
Bang. We love to hear that stuff.
Man.
Continue to work. Every trader here, I believe, can agree with this, and probably 90% of traders, you're always learning. You're always looking to consistently grow. Today is your best day. Well, I hope you have even better days days after this. You're now just setting a bar, continue to climb higher. Adair smashing it, Sharif smashing it. A lot of people are doing good in these markets, and it's really, really tough. So congratulations to Adair on that monster trade. She was telling us about it. And yeah, we'll continue to talk about it because when you're the best trader on the floor in the session, you get that type of praise, guys. So here we go. Q's starting to pull back a little bit. The volume is slowly starting to pick up here on the 5 minutes, but it is dwindling on the lower time frames, which is, I think, really important to gauge. Is this just a pullback? I think that's going to be the case. If we can't hold here, we do have some indecisions, which I think is really important here. So potential topping signal, but I think because of the past previous Friday bloodbath, swelling off this morning, not a good look. Let's see if these markets will continue to recover on the session because the big money doesn't want to lose that much either. Yeah, can they be offloading shares? But at some point, everything will kind of bounce back because it's not just straight capitulation to the downside, Sharif.
Absolutely, Joseph. Here we go. I'm in ATCH. We're at 9. We've been selling off at 9 aggressively. We're having a lot of trouble clearing 9 now. So I initially got in at 845 there. Scalp, a little bit out. Added at 882, and I scalped a little bit through 9, but now it's having real trouble taking and holding that $9 level. I'm technically now with a cost basis of 85, so a lot closer to 9 than I would like. So I'm a little concerned with this one right now. It's going to have to clear that $9 area, get me filled. Here we go. Now it's moving, but it's having a lot of trouble with 9. Look at that. There's a lot of selling at 9. There we go. Now we're clearing it. Now I'm waiting at a third, so I've taken out the majority of the position now. I've only got one beak wetter left on this bad boy. I'm talking about ATCH. It's a monster on the day, up 285%. Long 85s there. Initially was long at 45s. Scalped up to the position. I kind of, you want the truth? I fat fingered. So I got right back in because I made a mistake, took too much out. And so I was displeased with how I executed on that trade. So I took a bit of a risk. I'm like, look, this is a level that I like. It's a volume weighted average price. I was waiting for a long time to get in on this ATCH. I didn't want to get in at the 20 exponential because it wasn't setting up my way. So here we go. Now we're going to take a little bit of a beak wetter there. Happy with this trade. Good look right now on ATCH. Just take it a little bit right there. There we go. Good look. So that's a good look right there. Now, this one, a bit of a problem. So, got into this one. I'm talking about RILY, scalp. I added a few times. We took it out near the highs there. And then here's the deal. I had my beak wetter, or sorry, not beak wetter, excuse me, dollar cost average at 440. The reason I had it at 440, VWAP. I added at 440, but because I had an add right there, I also had my stop. And this thing absolutely tanked to the downside. Look at that move. We're down below VWAP. We are halted now at 411. Thank goodness I had my stop at 4.25. This thing absolutely tanked to the downside. So we're negatory on this one now as we added over here, and then we have to get stopped out. So RILY, it's going to have to reclaim the volume weighted average price at 4.25 for me to get involved. Otherwise, I'm not touching this. It is trading now below VWAP. And that's what I mean when these ones are around for a good time, not a long time. You got to be careful with them. The bottom drops off at any time. They're unlike some of the mid cap or large cap or mega cap stocks that you'll be trading, unless there's a catalyst for those bad boys. They typically don't trade in this erratic fashion, so don't trade them the same way. So RILY, we're stopped out of the remaining amount of that one. I'm still keeping an eye here on ATCH. I'm happy I got it out at 9 and a fifth there because it dropped all the way right back down. Right at when I got it out, it dropped down to about 8.5. And now it's trying to fight above the volume weighted average price. So I keep my patience with this one because we've got multiple levels here that we got to clear to the high side on ATCH. Let's look at the 5. Let me make my case for you why this one might be a bit of a tougher way to the high side. So it's great that we held up above VWAP, right? VWAP's at 8.25. Everything's gravy from that side. However, look at the umpteen amount of lower highs that we have. And I'll submit to you there was going to be likely selling at 10 o'clock. We did a bit of a consolidation sideways here at 10. That's if we can get above 9, that is. 10 will be a bit of a tougher look as well. 11, not so much, but 12 will be trouble. You had multiple topping tail candles through 12, all of which failed. Nothing was able to close above $12 at this part over here. You had one 5-minute candle that was able to close above 12. It closed at about 12:30, not the time, but the price, and then wicked into that 13.19 high day. Then all hell broke loose to the downside, and we haven't been above $10 since. So $10 is a problem area for me. If we can get above and stay above 10, I'll feel a lot more confident. And then that will give me a bit of a buffer between 10 and 12 than the other area that I perceive us to have a bit of a resistance level. So $10 resistance, $12 even bigger resistance, 11 not so much. Maybe it ends up being resistance, but on the chart, I don't perceive it to be that way. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I also see you guys talking about Pepe Pig over here, PEPG. Sorry, I had to drop that in there. Get it, Adara. So PEPG is trying to work its way back into that 3 1/3 area. It's having trouble with VWAP. It's been like a touch VWAP from the south side kind of dance. That ain't the move for me over here. It's going to have to get above and stay above VWAP for me to get involved. Guys, the small cap gappers today, they're all giving up the ghost, Joseph. They're all trading, well, except for ATCH. They're all trading below VWAP. They're all not tradable under my system. So hopefully something jives here. Either a new one comes up that's not below VWAP, or maybe these ones retrace the level. But right now, I don't like it.
Yeah, every time you say jive, it reminds me of semi-pro. I don't know. I don't know. I know you probably, I asked you before. I don't think you've seen it, but there's a scene in there that I find pretty funny. Okay, but here we are, guys. A nice little addition here on Palantir. Let's see if we can continue to climb higher. I just want to say, before we talk a little bit more, T, I want to say thank you to Artemis and John as always. Hey. Artemis, thank you for the kind words, and John, always thank you for your contributions. I mean, I think you're probably one of the kindest souls I've ever met. So yeah, you're always saying something nice. I've never seen anything bad come out. Yeah, never. Yeah, I've never seen anything say anything bad. Yeah, so much appreciated that to us, my friends. Okay, but here we go, guys. In PLTR, we now have that addition, and we're looking for the break of the 93.76. If we can break here, then I mean, this market can really start to move. We are hovering above the volume-weighted average price on the indices, which is really important, and can signal somewhat some strength. So if we can get these big names to really start participating, we can climb higher in this market. Let's take a look at what NVIDIA is up to on this session. Again, really weak here, but I don't think the sell-off was as bad as some of the overall market. Maybe on Friday I wasn't here for it, but here we go from 140 at the open all the way down to 134. I mean, you can withstand that, right? That's a couple body shots, but I think you can recover from that half decently. But the overall market, not the prettiest. And PLTR, you don't want to be taking in, those are knockout blows from the top there, Sharif, on Palantir. Because
Shakur Stevenson with those body shots?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Shakur, but he was. Did he?
Though, man.
He pulled. Yeah, he got the T. I seen he got the TKO victory, which is good for him.
That guy was game, but he took it on short notice, and he's outskilled.
Yeah,
Stevenson's like
right. Yeah, he's good. I mean, he's a good fighter. He reminds me kind of like Devin Haney and stuff like that. So I'm not the biggest fan. But here we go, guys. Let's see if we can start to climb here. We get NVIDIA to start participating in this recovery. Best believe that the market's going to join as well too. Google is something that is slightly alarming for me. I don't know what's going on with this stock. I mentioned before that we broke through some key levels and we're not really recovering like the rest of the market. Microsoft is starting to recover as well too, and we'll take a look at that because I know some individuals in the chat saying, hey, I have some calls all the way down here puts at 401, now recovering, but this 5-minute opening drive is really weak. So all those orb traders, that's exactly what you want to see, right? You want to see that. We're going to go to Katina Man in one second, or he's getting up from his chair. He's good. He's good. All right, we'll let him know. Sharif will let him know. Give me a second here, and then we'll go back to that. But here, down. Look at these engulfing candles. Like this is the definition, the epitome of weakness. When you see a candle like this that is just so like strong, you barely little wicks. There's no wicks here, and then that 5-minute orb all the way to the downside, and not a single wick on that candle print. That is so weak. And if you were to watch the time sales on that, you would be able to identify that. Before I think it was, I don't know what day it was, but we did a time and sales lesson. Go back and see it. I gave examples of what extremely weak opening drives look like and what extremely strong ones do. If I were to go back and run replay, this is exactly what I would want to see in a week one, and that's when you want to participate. You're going to see those orders flushing on the bid, below the bid, below the bid, and then when you see that clear flush, that's when you want to start to participate, and then when the tape slowly starts to turn around and you start seeing the ass starting hit as well, that's when you want to start taking profit, but then you can slowly grind. You get, with that momentum, you will give yourself enough room and enough leeway to be like, hey, I can sit on this, slowly take partials on that trade, and then not worried about getting stopped out. And that's really, really important. If you have replay mode, go back and watch the tape on this, or if you traded it, watch that tape, and that's exactly what you want to identify in extremely weak or in extremely strong names.
Yeah, man, absolutely agree there. Yeah. I like what some of the people are saying in the chat. 5, 7, even investing pillow hands. Yeah. Shout out to the original pillow hands, Floyd Mayweather. It's his birthday today.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, man. His hands would break on like every fight. Remember that?
Did they?
And
no,
he would wear, what are they, winning? Remember these gloves? What are they called? Winning? Like the ones that, okay, so there's Reyes for the punchers, and then winning for the boxers who have to protect their hands because they always break.
Oh, yeah, I know. I didn't know this.
You're supposed to know this.
I know. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's right. Well, I don't got pillow hands. They don't break. So
you should know about the Reyes.
Yeah.
We got to go to Adair. She's got some for us.
I do have a potential small cap runner for you, Sharif, though it is a penny stock. It's about 42 cents right now, so unaware if that is going to cut it. But regardless, worth noting because the company's CEO here on X that apparently the company is meeting the growing number of investors in Singapore, Hong Kong, and the Middle East interested in Bitcoin and digital assets. So GNS here, Genius Group, touting its digital asset strategy, apparently specifically with regards to investors in Singapore, Hong Kong, and the Middle East. It's worth noting GNS, this one usually pops because of comments the CEO makes on X. He is very active online. So GNS, you're going to get a bit of a CEO-initiated pump. Back to you.
I like CEO-initiated pumps. They work. They work like other pumps, so everything's fine. All right, guys, we got in super quick here on ATCH. As this one was breaking, it's continuing to break to the high side. I got in at 9.5, and I took everything out at 10.25. So that was really quick move up, but this is kind of like the modus operandi right now for ATCH. You're going to have to catch the wicks. You're going to have to catch the dips down. The initial entry here at 85, we were scalping. Sorry, this is the 5-minute chart. Let me flip to the one. So can appear a little bit better there. It's continuing to go. This is a very aggressive to the high side. I don't perceive there to be too much resistance at 10. At 11, excuse me. My initial area of resistance was 10, and then I'm looking at 12. So if we can break above and hold above 10, I see a bit of a gap. It's not a gap in the technical sense, but I don't see as much resistance in the $10 area as I do between that $11 and $12 area. So watch continually at that $11 area as I do between 10 and 11 and then 12 and above. Sorry, I kind of completely confused everybody by misstating that several times. I do apologize. But I'm keeping my eye on it. It's having trouble right now. We can see with that $10.50 area, 10.40, 10.50, it's kind of topped out there before. If we can squeeze above that 10.60 area, this could get very, very interesting. We'll keep tabs on that. I'm also back involved in Riley over here. I'm long at 46s. It's showing me 39s. I was able to scalp a little bit out over here. I'm looking at dollar cost averaging right into that 4 1/3. If it dips down to 4 1/3, I want to get a better cost basis for another move back up. But Riley is kind of bamboozling. Let me tell you why. The volume comes in spurts. Right? We have lots of volume on the way up. Then we have a consolidation sideways where we don't get too much volume. And now we're dropping down a little bit and the volume seems to be drying up. This one did halt to the downside at around 411 or so, 410, as somebody with a large position was offloading that. And it looks like, they still haven't picked it back up. So we'll keep tabs on that one. I wonder what you guys are looking at. Make sure you let me know if you guys are looking at any small cap gappers. I know Adara just called out Genius Group's GNS. It's a penny stock. It's not even positive on the day. So we'll keep tabs on that one. If that one wants to break to the high side, I'll be all ears and everything else. Right now, though, ATCH is what I'm focusing on as RILY is not doing much. And ATCH, I don't mind dancing with this one at VWAP again. VWAP kind of sideways at this area at still around 8.25. But here we go again with another attempt to break and hold above 10. Keep your eye out on that 1060 area. 1060 did act as local area of support. And then once we broke down below it, 1060 acting as that area of resistance. So I will be on the lookout for that level and that level specifically to see if we can move up above it. Wookware, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. I have puts on OCLO, OKLO at $43. What are your thoughts, Mr. Options? Can we have a look at?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm ready for that one. As soon as I see those options pull up here, guys. So let's see what we got going on. On 43, like, if you bought those at the money and you're sitting on those, there's not much to say, really, Shreve, other than, like, congratulations. It seems to be working out really well. OKLO selling off like the rest of the market. We'll see where we are down from the peak here, all the way down to the low. So 41%, again, if you just flat out bought those puts, you didn't hedge or anything along those lines, then just write out a game plan. Be like, hey, okay, so I have these at 43, I'm X percentage amount in the money, I'm up this amount on those contracts. What can I do now? I have 4 contracts, okay, let me lock in 25%. Let me sell 1 contract. If we continue to sell, then I still have 75% of my position. Or if you don't want to hold on to that much, be like, okay, I'll let off half, lock in some profits, because that's one thing that is really, I'm going to sway off a bit here, and I think that's one thing that is really underestimated and something that I've really started to hone in on is paying myself more when I should, right? Like, the thing is, like, when you're in the money, you're like, oh, I want more, and we all know the saying is, like, you have to let those winners run, but to what extent, right? Because not everything's going to go to the moon or to the bottom at all times, so when you've hit a decent amount, it's like, okay, I'm up 40% on this investment. Start locking in some profits and continuously do that over and over again, right? Keep those stops in place and then start locking in profits as those trades start to work. And I think that's the case here in OCLO. Like you have those 43 strikes. You're now trading at 35.30 with a low of 34. Again, like for me, it's like, okay, let me lock in some here. Now set my stop to say a trailing stop is like, okay, I'm willing to give up 30% or 50% of my unrealized gains. And then if it hits that, okay, yeah, you didn't make as much, but you're still taking profits. Neil says it all the time. You don't go broke taking profits. Sharif says it all the time. You don't go broke taking profits. So continue to pay yourself, especially when those trades work, right? Because now you're just going to learn more. Like that, and then I said this, I'm doing this more. Had a nice NVIDIA swing. Okay, pay myself for it. Okay, it's pulling back, trailing stop. I get stopped out. Okay, that's fine. I still make money on that trade. And I think that's the exact same case here in your OCLO trade. And for whatever it may be, stick to those stops and then write those trade plans out. I'm looking for this. If you don't get it, then that's okay. It's either you're going to get stopped out or you're going to hit your profit targets. And I believe that is really, really important there, guys. But yeah, we're still in this Palantir. I think that we might potentially break this VWAP here. Beautiful pullback. I'm really liking this. A big, strong ad. I didn't want to take any profits just yet because I'm looking for this break, and I think that's the right play, right? So we trade higher, nice pullback, add on the pullback, and then now I want to play that break because if this is going to be genuinely strong, we're going to breach this, and then we can tap into that $94 price target. Yeah, we're selling right now, but if the market holds, then that will come, and if it doesn't, then we just get out of the trade. 91.75. Okay, let me act as if I have a trailing stop. We hit 92. I'm just going to take whatever I have left out because chances are if it comes back that far into my entry price, you're going to be able to get back in and then potentially find a better entry price as well too. So don't get too comfortable. Always stay on those toes. Write those trade plans out and stick to them, and you're going to see your games change drastically higher. I'm seeing a lot of people tag me in the chat here, so I'll go over those in a brief second, but I really, really want to hyper focus on this Palantir trade, and it's really unfortunate that Google is just stinking the bed because Gorev and I had some sick trade plans on that one. So what are we going to do here, guys? We know that that tech is relatively strong, weak today. So what do? We look at XLV, the top performing sector, and here it is. I'm going to pull up Walmart because a lot of people are saying Trade Desk and Walmart, and I'm going to pull that up here quickly. But here we are on the on XLV here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like one of the strongest sectors. We rarely talk about this sector, Sharif. But then again, you were referring it to morning is like you like seeing like, okay, you have all your charts up, and then you see that one outlying stock. Do that with your sectors on a separate page too, and you'll be able to identify identify strength really, really fast, and you're going to be able to identify weakness as well too. So, okay, Mr. Chad, we're going to take a look at TTD because you are slightly blowing up the chat here, so I'll pull it up. And again, it is trading nice. We're not going to complain about this. Let's see what we got going on from a percentage metric here, up 5% on the day from that bottom. So from that bottom, let's see what the next level is. I'm thinking maybe, yeah, you're going to probably hit the 74 level, which isn't too far away, and that's a key pivot level here in this name, in the trade desk, sorry guys. And then Walmart, we'll pull up that one before we send it back to my guy. And yeah, we're going to go over Huckleberry. We're going to go over expected moves because I think this Wednesday is going to be a really, really big day. I forget what I had up there, but we know we have NVIDIA, Snowflake as well too. Those are the two that I remember for Wednesday. So there's going to be some action, and we're going to look at some of that open interest and expected move. But here we go from the bottom all the way up to this pivot high here on Walmart, up about 1.6%, and I'm absolutely shocked. Sharif was telling me I haven't read anything about this, but he's like, they lowered 26 guidance.
26, Joseph.
Yeah, so like that's like next year. We're not even relatively close to that, and this thing sold off almost, let's see, percent-wise, all the way to the bottom, like 12%.
There you go.
That's a buy. Like this is something that 1,000%, and if we close like this, Sharif, with that candle, I'm in it. There's no question about it. I'm in this name if we hold these levels, and that's when I'm going to start allocating Walmart because that's something that I've wanted to get in for a long time, and I think this pullback opportunity is one you don't get too often because if we were to go back into history all the way to 23, we don't see anything relatively close to that. Nothing, everything pales in comparison. You have to go all the way back to May of 22 to see something relatively close. But sure enough, for the recovery, it didn't even look back. And I think that's going to be the exact same case here in Walmart, my guy.
Yes, sir. All right, I told Cameron Lum that I'd have a look at XYZ. XYZ, in case you guys don't know, is Block. It's no longer trading under Square because Block was trading under Square because it used to be called Square. Now it's a block, so it's three-dimensional, so XYZ are length, width, and height. You like that? Oh boy, Adara. I know, it was quite anticlimactic, but it's the best I can do. So on the day, we're definitely negative as we sold off after earnings. This was the earnings date last week. I covered that for you guys live in the market recap show. We're hanging out above 85 bucks. And then all hell broke loose to the downside, a couple of red days, with the low today being $65. I do believe Block got upgraded today, if I'm not mistaken. Was it an upgrade or a downgrade? It was an upgrade, Adara? Yeah, it was. Where the hell? Show yourself. There it is. Block XYZ. So BMO Capital Markets upgrading this, but is a backhanded upgrade, guys. I forgot to tell you this, Adara. It was an upgrade, but a price target downgrade from $100 to 89 bucks. Usually I tell Adara that she adds context. But yeah, so a bit of a backhanded upgrade today on the day. As you can see, it's straddling the volume weighted average price. What that means is it broke down below it, and now it's using VWAP, which is always going to be the white line on my black charts. That is VWAP, and it's rejecting off that. Now we're putting in lower highs, multiple topping tails into VWAP, all of which sold off. So I feel like the market is pointing to the south side today for this bad boy. I didn't see the commentary by BMO Capital Markets to see why they upgraded it, but they dropped the price target. So you're going to have to do your own homework on that. But yeah, it's a bit of a tougher look. Look, I mean, they had some good things there with the earnings report. I know they're trying to work their way into Bitcoin mining now. Where the hell was this like a few years ago? So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this whole chart right now. It's going to have to find a base for me to get involved. Here's the daily again. Kind of, you know, a bit of a zig and zag area, hard to gauge area support. I feel there is area support at 60 bucks. Every time we seem to interact with that $60 level or low 60s, we're bought up. So if you're looking for this for a swing or the long term, perhaps pack your patience a little bit, wait for that 60 to come in. Otherwise, I mean, it's not my favorite company. I think Jack Dorsey's a hell of a guy. Very unusual guy, very intelligent guy, but not my cup of tea for a trade or an investment on the day. I'm still involved in Riley. It's trying to work its way back up above that $0.50. It probably behooves me to throw out some other beak wetters there to see if this bad boy wants to catch a bid. I'd like to be on the receiving end of that, so we'll throw those there. Sadly, though, here we go. I'm not an ATCH, and there it goes to the high side again. Here comes $11 on this monster. There's a seller at 90. He just got taken out, Joseph. Here comes that $11 area. This thing's up 336%, 59%. I mean, it's changing every second. We have a 13.19 HOD. I'll submit to you, I don't see too much in the way of resistance between 11 and 12. So if we can get above that $11 area with force, I think we could squeeze to 12. We'll have to wait and see if we can even do that. Right now, it's being met with aggressive selling as we do have bag holders from that higher price level that are still keeping this bad boy down, likely taking profits as it reascends. But if history's any guide, with the way these small cap gappers have been trading the last few months, I want to say subsequent to the election, we may have a shot at taking out that 3 and 5th level on the day. There's $11. It's still rejecting, so somebody is liking this at the whole dollar. Unsurprising, obviously, as that is kind of the nature of these bad boys, to have psychological resistance and support at the whole dollar. So keeping my eye out on ATCH. Shout out to Tisha. I don't know if she's still in the chat. She had a day on ATCH, so we're going to shout her out because she's a small cap gapper. Adira's giving you a round of applause there. I'll second that. Shout out to Tisha Perkins. Let's go. I'm buying up a storm right now, says let's go, tagging me in there. Shout out to Tisha again. Yeah, I already shut the platform down and it ran. Shake my head. Don't worry, Tisha. You made your money. We got to be grateful, right? We got to exercise gratitude at the end of the day. It keeps us mentally sound. If we're always going to be, running after that other 10 cents or that 20 cents that we didn't get, life's going to be a little tough there. But I definitely share your pain because I've been down that road multiple times. I'm sure most traders have been, Joseph.
Oh, dude, I did a couple weeks ago. I'm like, yo, I wanted to make it like a whole dollar, and so I decided to make another trade, and then I gave back more than what I was willing to.
That Alibaba trade on the beach probably helped.
Dude, that was from the hotel room, man. Open the door, nice view from the hotel room.
Waterfront view.
Yeah.
Blue Jamaican water.
Trading, man. That was wicked, man. When I seen Alibaba set up, I was like, I have to take this trade. It was really nice, and it just kept running and running and running, which I was really surprised about. But giving back everything, that's what, dude. I was thinking about this because you're like, hey, Joe, I think this is a good time to start getting, like you were talking about when it was at the lows, right? It was like after that stimulus selling, right? And you're like, hey, I think it's time to buy it. And I'm like, yeah, this guy is right. But then sure enough, it rips and then gives back more of that gain. And I'm like, man, it's like this is why we classify this space as almost uninvestable, or you have to have like rock hands, right? Because it's like there's no continuation.
Well said.
It's too volatile. Like, it's very risky stuff. I mean, if you like it, then by all means, just make sure you have those risk measures in place. And I think that's really, really important. But guys, Mr. Huckleberry, your Huckleberry asked us, hey, Joe, what's going on with the expected move here on HIMS? Because I think there's two names that I would like to take a look at this evening on the report stream, and that's HIMS and Riot. Okay, so Riot, I think Riot Holdings is a Bitcoin miner, and HIMS and hers is healthcare stuff like hair products, whatever it may be, cosmetics. I'm pretty sure anyways. But here we go, a 19.1 expected move here on HIMS. That's pretty big. Like, I was not thinking that, and then I had to pull up the chart, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys and frank. During this run that HIMS was on, I wasn't even paying attention to it. And that is my fault as a trader. When a name is this in play day after day, especially when we break here, that it is my job to find these names and then to look to trade them. So that is ignorance on my behalf to be like, hey, I'm not overly familiar with it. It doesn't matter. Price action is price action. Obi will tell you that, all right? He doesn't care about the name. He doesn't care about what they do. He just wants to see what the current price and action is up to, and I think that's really important. But now that we're on HIMS, guys, we're going to take a look at the options chain, okay? And that's what we like to do. We like to see where we have the most kind of like fluctuation, the most area, not fluctuation, the most riddled area of open interest. whatever I was trying to say. So let me pull it up here on HIMS.
Been there.
Yeah, I don't even know what word I was like. Where everything is pooling together, I guess we're saying, when everybody's gathering towards, okay? So for me, on the call side, we got that 60 strike price. We're now trading at 49. So let's see what we're going at. If we're going to put in a 20% move here, where's that going to put us? Right around that $60 strike there, guys. 19% right there. We got a 19.1 expected move, so just under 60. And sure enough, that is going to be the contract with the most open interest to the top side in and around that expected move area, all right? So whatever the implied move. Now let's take a look at the downside. We really want to keep an eye on this. What we have here, Sharif, is we have a lot of open contracts at that $45 strike price. Okay, so those are levels that you want to keep an eye out on. Where is the most open interest? What does it matter? Because if we start hitting those levels, I mentioned to you guys before, those options traders, once you get to that strike price, because chances are those are really out the money contracts. So what they're gaining is strictly extrinsic value. And they're like, hey, I need to lock this in. I need to lock this, my gains in here. So I'm going to start selling shares. If we get to that 60 price target, I'm going to start selling shares to lock in those gains. And the same thing with the put side. If we start hitting that 45, then you're going to see that buying to step in because you can start locking in on those shares. Okay. And then now we're going to go over Riot real quick before we send it back to my guy and see what we got going on from an expected move standpoint as well too, and see what we got going on the options chain, because we know we like love it when I do that. Our IoT. And let's see what we go on. See, and this is the Bitcoin miners. It's really, really tough looking this, and it doesn't even really want to give me what the expected move is. So we might have to look at the Market Chameleon one there later on, Sharif, to see what the expected move is on Riot. But again, like, this is just a name. These miners are too hard to trade in. They're range bound, and they continue to be range bound. And I'm looking at the options chain right now, and it's like there's a lot of open interest. It is a cheaper stock, so keep that in mind. 12 strike price, that whole dollar, putting in 20K of open contracts, really, really important there. So keep an eye out for that $12 price target. And to the downside, it doesn't even really go down that low. 9.5 has the most open contracts currently right now here on Riot, but it's not looking pretty from a daily standpoint.
All right, let's cover Elon's trade from Friday. He was telling me about he had a banger swing on Boeing as a result of the orange man chiming in about Boeing or his disdain for the company as a result of delaying the new Air Force One project. As I discussed with Adira when she was on the show, Boeing doesn't make money from the Air Force One project, nor do they make any money from their tanker program, the refueling tankers that they sell to the Air Force. They make zilch off that, so they're not going to be motivated, likely, to get that out soon. So I think Donald Trump's going to continue to complain unless he can strong-arm them in a different way. I will cover the technical parts of this trade and have a look at that for Elon when we get back from Adira at the big desk.
What's the trades?
Take a look here at the S&P 500, basically flat on the day, but continuing. This is the 15-minute. We have run into this 600.80 level, so $600.80 level 3 times as resistance in the last 3 15-minute candles. Then we have the NASDAQ here actually down on the day, so a bit of a distinct difference here between the performance of the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, trying to bounce a little bit, and certainly here a bounce from this drop that we went through at the open, but still a little bit weak here. This green outfit not yet impacting the NASDAQ. TTD on watch here. The trade desk got a little bit of a pop. I know it was mentioned here in the midday. Basically what happened here around this volume candle is there were some stories basically showing that Microsoft now has an ad tier, I guess, of Office, or there's now an ad feature. TTD does do these internet ads, so great look for that company. Then we have IBIT, and I wanted to put this up because crypto has been really weak. Looking kind of similar to the market, but certainly this is IBIT at least running to some resistance at 54s. We know there have been lower highs and lower lows on Bitcoin on the daily chart, but worth noting, Bitcoin and a lot of these crypto names definitely removed from their high of day, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adira. I was just discussing with the Katina man the lunch, and we'll just leave that out.
It's hitting turbulence like a Boeing.
Oh, this man's putting. Can you believe Obi wants to take on Adara in a pun contest?
You know what though? Obi, no, but you got to hear it. My guy is sneaky good with
think so?
Yeah, I know. So I heard some of the things that he says. He's sneaky good with the puns.
All right.
Hey, listen,
So
that's a
taking
tough
Obi.
competition.
So
I'm
that-
no,
yeah, yeah, you gotta take Obi now,
whoa.
bro.
I'm just giving my guy
taking Adara,
credit.
bro.
Yeah, hey, listen. I'm giving my guy credit. I'm not choosing any sides. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
So like that's a four-nation face-off right there. That is a tough one. That's a four-nation. Like you don't know
Can I tell
who's.
you? I didn't even understand that was it was replacing the All-Star game. I didn't
Oh,
even know
really?
what was going on.
Yeah. I think that's such a better. I think that's way better, right?
So much more skin in the game.
And then like think about.
The Four Nations.
You don't think it's better than the All-Star game?
It's not. They didn't have an All-Star game this year, did they?
Yeah.
It's not replacing. It says it could.
What do you mean? Wasn't it All-Star? No, oh yeah, it's every 2 years. Yeah, so they're rotating.
They're doing it every 2 years.
So this year they did. Yeah, so this year it was All-Star weekend.
I'm not gonna lie,
I mean, when you have a start like the U.S.-Canada game, why would you want to watch anything else?
And it's Finland and Sweden, right? The other two.
Yeah. Well, and then we know that one of them isn't allowed in it because they would be. So Russia, right? So yeah.
Really, they're banning Russia because of the whole thing?
Yeah, of course.
What do the
man.
players have to
Boycott
do
it.
with anything, bro? What do players have to do with anything? Like what?
Yeah, bro.
I know, but why do the players have to be banned? Aren't they allowed to go into the Olympics under like that non-associated flag or something like that?
But yeah, I guess Gary Bettman doesn't. Yeah, I mean, hey.
I get Putin is displeasing everybody, but what are the players?
That's one thing that I missed when I was in Mexico. That's my go-to is like I like to come back and get a nice KFC poutine. That's just like my
The Americans
go-to.
are not going to even know what poutine is.
Yeah, well, okay, it's gravy and cheese with fries.
Playing.
like that.
I just trolling you guys. Come on.
They know. Our northern
guys.
folk know.
Let's get to Boeing here for what's his name for Elon. Shout out to Elon. Great trade, brother. I mean, I don't know where you picked this up, Elon, but Boeing was much like the market on Friday, down and to the right. Good recovery for it today off that 175, give or take. I think it did generally defend 175. It got a bit of a bid there towards the end of the day at around 12:30 or something on Friday. Ended up closing out at about $177 today. It's up and to the dang right. We're knocking the door of 181.5. I think we're about 181 and change right now. Look, Elon, I mean, Boeing was a beautiful trade the last little while. Let's go to the 4 hour. I mean, especially if you were picking it up off that 137, it just kept going up and up and up. Then you had a few days here towards the end of last year, early this year, where we kind of sold off, pulled back into that general 170 area, and then we made higher highs and higher lows. So Boeing obviously is involved in military defense as much as it is obviously in commercial airlines. It's not a lack of demand. Right? You know that there's demand out there. Whether or not they can execute under this Orper guy is an entirely different story, but I like it. I like the trade. I like the trade, Elon. I think we're definitely off those area lows, and I think we continue on our merry way possibly to the high side here. This is the 4 hour. Let me throw the 4 hour on there, especially if we can take out that 190 level. You can kind of see we've been having a bit of chop and churn in the mid-180s. If we can take out that 190 level, we could easily see 200. So good look for you, Elon. Fantastic entry for you, brother, and let me know how it goes. I'm still watching ATCH over here on this day. It's coming into that volume weighted average price yet again. This time, VWAP a little bit higher than it was last time. Last time was about 8.25. This time it's hanging out at around 840. However, let's flip to the 5 on this one because I want to show you this one could be a candidate for a flat bottom break with that high day, Joseph, around 1320. Then we reject 1250, and now we're rejecting 11. So what I'm trying to say here ineloquently is lower high, lower high, lower high with that $9, 8.5 area acting as the flat bottom. All hell can break loose if there is no bidders in and around this area. We'll keep an eye out on that. In case you're wondering what a flat bottom break is, essentially it's a descending wedge, right? We know these triangle patterns are continuation patterns, whether they're moving up or moving down. In this particular case, we're making lower highs with the same area support, so we're moving down. So this one does seem like it is manifesting in that way, but we'll have to wait and see whether it does or not. VWAP, again, just to let you guys know, for ATCH, $8.40. I'm going to be keeping an eye out on that. I'm still involved in RILY. Did get the DCA there as it did wick into 4 1/3, and then it popped right back up into 4 1/2. So I have a better price now on, RILY, but it is having trouble with that 50 penny area. And so I am concerned about that, very concerned, even though it's kind of putting in higher wicks now. So each successive wick a little bit higher than the predecessor. That's from the price action side perspective, Andre. And then from the bat side, we're dropping in volume. So that concerns me a little bit. We got some bills to pay, Joseph.
Hey, let's go, guys. Foremost Energy. Unlocking the nuclear renaissance with Foremost Clean Energy. Leveraging one of the biggest mega trends on the planet, nuclear energy. Partnered with Denson Mines and Properties, strategically located in the Athabasca Basin, known as the Saudi Arabia of uranium. This undervalued company is poised to capitalize on the exploding nuclear market and offers unparalleled growth potential. The future is nuclear. Foremost is your entry. On the NASDAQ under FMST and on the CSE as FAT, FAT, or go to foremostcleanenergy.com for more details, guys. There it is. The Athabasca Basin. Wow, that was a tough one. I had to read that one.
Bro, can I tell you though, off topic for a second?
Yeah.
Canada is becoming a nuclear powerhouse. Not that we're building nuclear power plants hand over fist, but we have a ton of uranium.
We got it,
a ton of uranium.
Exploit it,
so
man.
we're an energy powerhouse. I already know, we already hit the oil sands. The oil is not as good, dude. We got nat gas, we got uranium, we got oil,
What else do we got? We got the loan. We have every natural resource that you can essentially you need. Yeah, exactly. Well,
there was just no political will to extract.
No, there was zero political will. But I think that narrative is going to change, and I think you will agree with me here in coming months. But possibly, I think we have to wait until November now. Yeah. Which
depends. Apparently, your friend Carbon Tax Carney.
Yeah. That's your friend. That's your guy.
You like how I weasel that in there?
Yeah.
No, we're just joking, of course, guys. Hey, he's the guy that's likely going to replace the current sitting PM if he wins the leadership race. So a very prolonged kind of situation with the leadership race there. We'll get more into it as the day goes on. But I want to mention.
Okay, I want to talk about PLTR, guys. I told you the target. We're starting to move in towards it. This is exactly what we waited for. I told you I'm out at 92. We held that level beautifully, and now going to test this pivot that I was referring to earlier, holding on to that ad. So I've been in this since earlier this morning. What time? 11:02 to be exact. An hour and a half later. Sometimes it takes a while for things to cook. I mentioned Adair's like, Joe, I like that analogy on the speedboat and with the cruise ship. Yeah, it's exactly. Sometimes things take some time. I'm a momentum trader, so I get impatient when I'm doing the opening drives. But later in the day and around these times, noon, it takes some time. It may not be as fast as you would like it, but this is why you hold on to it. You write out that plan. You wait for those key levels, and that's exactly why now, Sharif, we're going to take a little bit off the top.
There it is,
for the
baby.
people. Bang.
Liking that, Joseph. Great trade, brother. Great trade there. All right, I'm just taking off some over here. I'm pleased this dang punch right now. We're 20 pennies in the money on RILY. The next area I'm waiting for, 66s, wrong. We either wait at 69s or we don't wait in the 60s at all, Joseph. I'm insane.
He doesn't want it. If it's not 69.
If it's not 69, I don't want the print. No,
yeah, maybe 88, and then that's it.
I'm feeling it. It's a Monday. We're having a good time, baby. Shout out to all the blockchain. I see you, son. I see you. He's like, look, what do you think we're coming for? Because we were talking about all the energy prowess of Canada. He's like, why do you think the orange one is, eyeing your country down? What? Don't I know it? It had nothing to do with fentanyl. I promise you that.
Yeah, I promise you.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. But that's the look there. So here's the deal. We're in Riley right now. I'm pleased as dang punch with this trade. However, it's bamboozled me before. The bottom has dropped off in the past on this one, so I am a little bit concerned with it. I'd like to take out that high day. I don't want to take out too much right here, so we're going to wait at 69s. And if I don't get the print, I don't get the print. But you bet your bottom dollar that if I get that 69 print, I will not be taking any more out until we break that high day. So I will be looking to take it out on the break of the high of the day. But right now, I see the Cybertruck is moving to the high side there, Katina, man. I don't know if you're involved with that one, but that is a good look right now. Where the hell is my chart? Show yourself. There we go. Let's look at the Tesla chart over here, because we're getting a big move up here on TSLA, a big sell-off to start the morning, to be quite honest, but a good recovery. Now, believe it or not, we're actually up a 1/4 percentage point on TSLA. So a nice bottom dip there. Where did it weasel into? About 3 1/4. So $325 was the worst it could do on the day, technically, 324.70. You guys get my drift, though. We end up actually closing above that 326. And now we're moving on up to 339. The pre-market high at around 347, a little bit lower than that. So we'll see if, number one, Tesla can stay green. It's marginally green at the moment. And number two, whether it can take out those pre-market highs. Well, there's plenty, actually, of headlines today on Tesla. And let me tell you exactly what they are. Number one, we are going to get a redesign of the Model S and the Model X, the two most expensive. Well, it depends if the Cybertruck is priced a little bit higher. The Model S and the Model X, traditionally the most expensive models for Tesla. You can debate whether some of the models of the Cybertruck are more expensive than the S. We're going to get a redesign of those bad boys. Last time we had a redesign, back in 21. In addition, they are now hiring people for the Cybercab. Multiple different listings for jobs have been posted, all to do with the Cybercab. So there looks like they're advancing in that regard. Number three, it looks as if Tesla will be able to launch FSD, full self-drive, out in China. They had been regulatorily prohibited until this point. Other companies that they compete with, XPeng, some others, BYD, all had regulatory approval for their full self-driving style software in China. Tesla did not. I didn't see anything today from the regulator. This was a report, I believe, from Bloomberg. It wasn't cited as to who gave that information, and it didn't cite that Tesla had actually been given regulatory approval. It had said that Tesla was looking to launch the product there. So I'm a little bit concerned that it's light on information. There may have been updated since the time I did my review in the morning. So make sure, if you're going to rely on what I'm saying, you're double checking it to make sure it's current, because more information could have come out. Now, let's get back to the current trade at hand. I'm doing real well over here. I'm pleased as dang punch, as a dealer would say. We just took it out there at 69s. I'm leading at 69s. Here we go, Joseph. Into 76. Get it, Katina, man. And I appreciate you. Here we go with the high day again, Joseph. Here we go. Yeah.
Oh, don't. Yeah. Me.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's monstrous, bro. That's
all right,
crazy. So
we're rejecting 480 again, Joseph. That's the area we've had trouble with all morning. We've been able to wick above 480 on RLY. We haven't been able to close above 480. Here we go. Selling coming in at 4 4/5. Unsurprised. It's a rinse and repeat resistance level. I'm not taking anything out here. I'm going to wait for the high daybreak, or I'll get stopped out. It's really that simple. I'm going to be that stubborn with this trade. Joseph Wilson, what do you got?
Yeah, Palantir, man. Let's go, Palantir. I just wrote that in the chat. We got to say, let's go, Palantir. Continuing to climb, 93. We were down as low as 10% on the session. Now only down about 7 3/10 there, guys. I mean, here we go. Like, let's keep this ball rolling. Nice recovery here in the market. Gorev was talking to me about some Tesla prints.
Gorev.
Yeah, exactly. He's killing it, man. Yeah, Gorev's always killing it. That's my guy. That's my guy right there, Gorev. But he's talking about this daily print here on Tesla. I think it's like, yeah, hey, Joe, this might be some bottoming signal if we can hold it. Like, I mean, dude, the important thing is, like, okay, he's correlating everything, right? So, look, how many touches do we have at this key level? At this 335 level, just below it. Like, that's what you want to look for. And then you look for those indecision prints. You correlate it with volume. You correlate it with previous levels. And then, bang, you come up with a thesis. If it works, then it doesn't work. But if it doesn't work, then it doesn't. But if it works, then you're like, okay, nice. We're going to document this one for the books, and we're going to realize what we did right there. Katina, man, what do you got cooking up over there, my guy? NVIDIA 135? He's looking at NVIDIA 135 here. We're still in this swing long here, Katina, man. I've been holding on to this since 118 is my average. I'm loving this one. Yeah, exactly, in the old swing account there. So we're moving and we're rolling on this. I thought we were going to continue to climb, but let's talk about the gap fill, right? This is something really, really important. We've done a lesson on gap fills before. I love the gap fills. I was in this before it. And then I added at this level, and then it just slightly raised my average, but that's okay. But we're still in it. 118, 119 is the average in this. We're going to climb higher. Katina Man says we hit all-time highs on the earnings report. I agree with him there. I think it's going to be a blowout quarter for NVIDIA. That growth cycle is still totally intact. And yeah, let's climb higher. This market is weak. I mentioned if NVIDIA starts to climb, it's going to drag it with it. But here we go from this gap all the way from 142 all the way to a low of 128, right? And now we've completely filled it. So really, really good look for all those individuals who traded that gap fill. I'm glad that you guys had a really, really successful trade. Let's see what everybody else in the chat here is thinking on the blockchains. Our guy, Joe, do we think NVIDIA earnings will bring the market back up or major sell the news type event? I don't think it's going to be a sell the news. Let's just be real with it. We obviously need to wait for the print, right? We want to see guidance. We want to see everything along those lines. So we got to be really patient. I know we're a little antsy about this name because it was the darling. It's just one of the best stocks in the market over the past X amount of years. So again, we'll just be patient. But Adara, hold on, before we send it to Adara, we're expecting to see those trades. So let's see what you got going on over there.
Yeah, I can get that happening for sure. I mean, we'll talk here about Apple, AAPL. So Ming-Chi Kuo, basically, that is a noted supply chain analyst. He already spoke earlier today about Intel and TSM. Today, they're making some comments about Apple, saying that apparently their new Houston, USA factory will begin producing some AI servers powered by the high-end M5 processor. He's saying that this follows this announcement that we're going to be getting $500 billion in investment from Apple for AI, and saying that this basically aligns with his previous prediction, suggesting that the mass production of the M5 chip slated for the second half of 2025 into 2026 does align with Apple's timeline for expanding AI server capacity. So not a lot new being said here, but it's always worth noting Ming-Chi Kuo has released a tweet on Apple, and it does not seem particularly negative. Also, because there was that question there about the trades, we can do that again. So MSTR here, I got the short. I risked to the prior bar 3-minute high, so I was risking $1 here. And then I took some out 293 because that was an area of, I believe, the daily. There's some resistance support. This was a huge level, that 285. I believe that we haven't been this low since the start of 2025, so that was a profit taker. Took some out here around that 280 level, then got stopped out the remainder here in the 5-minute prior bar break at 285. So that was the MSTR. META as well here because that was the other one I was in. Same kind of idea. I took this short here at the low of day break, risking to the prior bar 3-minute high. Then we move to the 5-minute. I like that 675, so took off some there. And then, of course, getting stopped out, much like MSTR, on the 5-minute prior bar break. That is the trades. Back to you.
Here, because a lot of people are trolling Steve Weiss, and I mean, like, Scott Wapner used to do the same thing to him as well. He's like, you're buying NVIDIA up at 400 before the split? He's like, yeah, the numbers are great. And then sure enough, how did that work out?
Went to 1,400.
Yeah, exactly. And Wapner was giving him a hard time. So
Wapner always gives him a hard time.
The judge, man, the judge.
I think he's one of the better guys I have.
I love Wapner.
Guys, we did well here on Riley, but Joseph, I did not hold a piece for the dream like I advocate often, and so I didn't get a print at above 5s there. But RILY is on one, guys. It is on. It was at very much near the high of the day. In my humble submission, this and ATCH are the best looking small cap gappers in the market at the moment. ATCH is hanging on by a thread. As I mentioned, it's an umpteen amount of lower highs with that flat bottom break coming in over here. This kind of how I see ATCH, lower high, lower high, lower high, with that 850 generally as an area of support. Who knows if that holds or not? I won't be getting shorts on this. I don't like shorting these small cap gappers, but I like to take them long. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. RILY, I don't mind getting in if this one wants to come back down and test 480. Now, you could make the argument, it already made that high at 508, dip back down into 482, so it already tested that 480 area, Sharif. It's not going back there, and if it does, it's going to fail at that level. It's going to go right back down into VWAP, maybe 460, 450. So I'll continue to watch here, but if it comes back down to 480, hangs out above there, I'm taking it long because it was an obvious area of resistance. I'm talking about RILY and that $4.80 area that it rejected multiple times, essentially from 1120 to when we gave up the ghost aggressively there to 1140. So a period of 20 minutes, it kept rejecting. If it comes in there, it's there right now. It's going to have to hold up. So let's watch what it does. Does it hold that area? And should I be punching in here and maybe giving it to about 70 pennies, right? Giving it a bit of room, doing a 1-to-1. So if I get in at 80s, it might be 2-to-1 because I'll be looking to wet my beak at 5, right? So I'm just thinking out loud here, guys, kind of give you an idea of how I do my deductive reasoning with these small cap gappers. So I'm all eyes here on RILY. If it wants to hang out, we'll get back in. Let's look at some of these other Mag 7 names, though. I've barely said anything about them, and there's stuff to be said there. So let's have a look. All right, so great recovery for a lot of these names. I mean, if you looked at the initial price action on Meta and Amazon and NVIDIA, goodness, Uber, no one was spared. Microsoft, Google, Tesla, Netflix, they all got shellacked. It was really Apple that was the only one not getting shellacked, and that's Catalyst specific, so we're not going to wax poetical about that. Let's look at the most of these Mag 7 names are now curling back into the volume-weighted average price after putting in area lows. Case in point, Meta. Wow, 662 on Meta. Was this thing almost at 762 like a few days ago? Where is the all-time high on Meta? Allow me a second here. I just got to find for my own curiosity. Guys, 741. So we're almost $100 or $80 off the high there on META. Are we at the 50 yet? No, bro. We're not even at the 50. The 50 exponential on Meta is at 657. So we are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative days now on Meta after a zillion up days. I think it was 20, just to be accurate there. Up days on META. In any event, it's above VWAP right now. Let's see if it can hang out above there. I don't really want to trade that. Microsoft, though, a bit of a different story. Let me make my case for Softy. So everything was down and to the right, very bear flaggish on the day, as we already said, except Apple. But look at this. It claims VWAP quite quickly after being below it for a while. And then what it does is it doesn't straddle VWAP from the south side. It straddles it from the north side. So it's, in fact, reclaim VWAP. And funny enough, using VWAP after the reclaim as support. And since that double bottom there at VWAP where it tested it, it's been putting in higher lows. Not necessarily much in the way of higher highs, but higher lows nevertheless on MSFT. So if there's going to be one, other than Apple, of course, that tanked aggressively in the hyperscaler world, Mag 7 world, and could be on the way back, I would say Microsoft is one of those ones that could be good. I mean, just compare Softy right here. MSFT is the middle one over here. Meta, as you guys can see. Look at Google straddling VWAP from the south side. Meta's barely above it. Amazon straddling VWAP from the south side. NVIDIA at VWAP but looking from the south side. Microsoft distinctly different, to use an OBism, where it's straddling VWAP from the north side. So I like Microsoft here, and it's also only down about 1%. It's outperforming some of the other ones over here as well, like Meta, which is down 1 2/3. Yeah, Tesla's good as well. Tesla is, flat, essentially. And then Amazon 0.85. So yeah, maybe not the percentage you looked thinking, I was thinking about here in Softy, but price action-wise, not too bad. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. If I do trade one of these large caps, it might be that one. Let's flip back to some of these small cappers over here, seeing what's afoot. ATCH continuing to hang out, though, guys, at that volume-weighted average price or above volume-weighted average price, while RILY doesn't make me feel so bad, coming down back into that 480 area. There goes 480, 475 now. Just to give you an idea, the volume-weighted average price on Wiley, 445. So we could definitely get a bit of a sell-off here, Joseph.
Yeah, good luck there, my friend. Okay, let's see what we got going on. I guess I don't want to call it like a counter-trend trade or anything, but I just think out of the big mags, which Shreve was just talking, I think this is the weaker one right now. So I'm short some Google. We are hovering around the volume-weighted average price, which I think is really important. I think the key to this style of trading, or this setup specifically, is selling the top of the range, right? So you can see that we have this nice consolidation. One thing that we do have to note is that we are forming higher lows. Really, really important. But this consolidation, as the market started to climb higher, Google was doing essentially nothing and had the inability to breach and hold VWAP here. So I think it's a short. If I got in above it, I think that'd be more ideal. That way your risk to reward can be slightly better. So this is what I'm risking now. I'm 181.20. So what is that, about 30 cents or so I'm risking on this trade. To go for the bottom of the range will put us around 180.20. So a nice 3 or 4 to 1 on that specific setup. But if we break break, as the market slowly starts to climb higher, then I'm just going to get out. So that's my thesis on this trade. Let's see if it pans out. I do believe that it is one of the weaker names here. We're still positive on the session, though, surprisingly. Up about 7/10 here, guys, on the day, because I guess in the pre-market, we did have that gap up, which was really nice because I have a swing going on this as well, too, that's not doing too well, which is really unfortunate. But around 184, 185 is my average here, and selling all the way down to 180s. Was talking to Gorov on the side about it as well, too. So I might have to get out of this because for me, if you look at it like this, and now I'm just fully disclosure, like I'll tell you exactly what's going on. I'm $4 or $5 out of the money on this. Am I overly heavy? Absolutely not. But just in my mentality, it's like, okay, let me get out, let me realize this small loss. Get back in at 180 or whatever it may be, and then if we go back up to 185, then I just essentially made a little bit my money back, and then maybe some more if I added into that position. So that's the way I think of things, and let's see if that works out. All trading styles are different. I found that this system style works for me. I want to see if it pans out, and I do think eventually Google will recover. It's just too much of a beast. I mentioned it being like it's almost tech ETF in its own, so there's a little bit of everything in this name, and eventually it will recover. But this price action on the daily is super, super fishy and suspect. I didn't like this consolidation phase with the break here. I like to call these cliffs, and then sure enough, once you breach that cliff to the downside and break through some of these support levels, then you just continue, and that momentum as you fall down just starts to pick up and pick up a little bit more. So that's why we up here sitting up at 190, now trading as low as 181. So that is Alphabet there, guys. Again, super weak, and that's what my 2 cents are. But yeah, let's see what else everybody else is looking at in the chat. AKM, Mr. Ian says that HIM's up to 50. Okay, we'll take a look at that shortly. We went over that expected move on it earlier and where the most open interest is. So guys, put it in the chat. What are you looking at? If there's any specific ticker that you want us to go over, we'll do that. But one thing we will do real quick is see what we got going on Wednesday, because I think that's going to be the showstopper of the day, the earnings report, Sharif. I wouldn't be surprised if we had those big shows that you guys do with the three of you up there on this night, because there's a lot of
NVIDIA?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got NVIDIA, Snowflake, Salesforce, C3 AI, and Mara all Wednesday evening. Talk about an absolute star-studded evening, and Joby too as well, guys. Roots. For those is that Roots? No, it's Root Inc. I don't know if that's Roots Canadian, but there we go, guys. So an absolute phenomenal evening, Wednesday evening. Let's see what it does.
Just before we go to Adair, sorry, Andre. QVCGB. Sorry, it's a 5-letter ticker. This is insane. It's up 580%. It's halted to the high side right now, 13 2/3. Sorry to keep you waiting, Adara.
It's all right, Sharif. I just wanted to show you guys our Trader TV research earnings board. This is on X. We posted this on Friday, and this is all of the main earnings names this week. It's pretty packed because there are so many. Sharif and I are going to be giving you the market recap tonight. You're going to get Diamondback Energy, or FANG. You get Cleveland Cliffs. You'll get Tempest AI. You'll get Riot. You'll get Zoom, and you'll get Hims and Hers. Tomorrow night here, we're going to be getting Lucid. We're going to be getting Axon, Kava, Instacart, Coupang, Intuit, Workday, AMC. Wednesday night, as mentioned here, NVIDIA, Snowflake, Teladoc, C3 AI, CRM, Root, not the Canadian brand, and it's a small cap that tends to run pretty heavily on earnings, and Paramount, Marathon, and Joby. Thursday in the morning, we'll get some decent names, including Vistra, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and Papa John's. Then after the close on Thursday, we're going to be getting Clover Health, Autodesk, SoundHound, Dell, and Duolingo. So basically, huge week all week. And if that wasn't enough, Fubo reporting before the bell on Friday. If you want to look at all of these in a bit more detail, check out X at TTV Research, because we have this for you. We do this every single week, guys. Back to you.
Okay, I can't in good conscience suggest anybody to trade this. This is insane, guys. It's very dangerous to trade. We just made it, okay, so we were halted at 13 and change. We moved up to 16 2/3, and now we're halted to the downside at $10.90. It moved $6 in 2 seconds. I watched it live. Very dangerous stock, guys. Very, very dangerous stock. Be careful with this, please. I have very little information on it. I'm seeing a float of around 350 million shares. I'm unable to find what the short float is, but here's what the company does. So it's QVC Group. So is this the company that, Curate Retail owns controlling and non-controlling interest in a range of video and online commerce. Oh, like QVC, like that television channel that you buy stuff off, right? Like TV shopping, is it not? Yeah, shopping channel. Thank you, Katima. It operates through its subsidiary, QVC Incorporated, which includes HSN and Cornerstone brands. The company segments include QXH, QVC, CBI, a whole bunch of different markets. They sell in a variety of consumer products in the U.S., primarily by means of televised shopping programs via the internet through their websites. Okay, so this is an old school ticker. I don't know why it's moving. I'm keeping an eye on it here. The only thing that I can see is they filed an 8K this morning. That came in very early at 7:45. Doesn't really explain what's going on over here. You can have a look at whatever you want to there. I'll leave that on the screen for you guys. I'm looking to see if there's anything from yesterday, even though yesterday wasn't a trading day, obviously. Nothing from there. On the 21st, there was this headline that they announced a 2025 virtual annual meeting of stockholders. Hardly the headline that moves a market like that, and especially not that delayed. So I have no idea why this is moving, but it is up currently, even though it's down halted at 1090 right now, it is up 445% on the day. And I'll submit to you that the majority of the volume came in at around 1140. So, you know, there was volume earlier. I mean, there were a couple volume bars there, but the majority of the volume still came in at later in the day. Currently, it hasn't even done 500,000 shares. It can't stay open, right? 366,000 shares is what we've done on the day. We're in the third minute of what may be a 5-minute halt. I'll tell you guys that we were halted for far longer than 5 minutes. This bad boy halted at 12:10 and didn't open again until 12:36. So, you know, this one was obviously a 25-minute halt there on that bad boy. So keep your eye out on this one. Likely not going to have much to say about this unless it really gets parabolic, and then we can discuss that. Now, we did get a market or a level breach here on Riley of that 480 area, but then up we go again. So I'm going to give myself a much smaller size on this one, but I'm giving myself another opportunity for that $5 break on RILY. We're in right now at 88. I'll be looking to scalp into fives. Adara's at the big desk.
Did a little bit of a deep dive on this QVCGB, and it looks like, honestly, it starts like 40 minutes ago. There was a lot of really bullish talk on this on X, so I don't want to say it's a pump necessarily, especially because there's not a ton of volume, but I do think it's worth noting the amount of bullishness surrounding this stock on X. People were talking about the trading plans on this before it had that pop to the upside, so just be aware here, QVCGB is being heavily watched by a lot of traders. So as Sharif mentioned, certainly want to express caution with QVCGB. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. That does make sense. I mean, and West y'all also chiming in there. Thank you, West y'all, always helping out, brother. One of the chat OGs. It's a ticker change. Quarte becomes QVC Group, expanding to live social shopping. Thank you very much, West y'all, and thank you very much to Adara for bringing us that. Always, that's what I love about being on the show, man. I mean, it's hard to monitor everything and to do the show at the same time, but that's why we informally rely on you guys, obviously, to engage with us during the chat. And more pleased I could not be. Bang! There it is, Joseph again on RILY. I weaseled in at 85, scalp out 95, scalp out 5, scalp out 505, and there goes the high of the day on RILY. It's up 50% now. Higher highs and higher lows. I love these stocks. Keep your eye out on this one. I don't think this one's given up the ghost yet, and if it holds above 5, we could definitely squeeze on this one. Do not forget, the short float on this bad boy is prohibitive. It's up over 50%, 55% on this name. Things can get parabolic. In addition to having a very large short float, its actual share float is not that big either. About 60 million shares, a little bit less, Joseph, than 60 million. Let's keep an eye on it.
Yeah, dude, Riley, that entry there is absolutely phenomenal, man. That was like, you can't get a better price than that one there, literally. So yeah, guys, good look there. I want to take a look at CrowdStrike because I traded this one from a swing standpoint as well too on this gap fill. I want to be able to. Why can't I hide this real quick? Okay, yeah, just so we can get those lines out of here, okay? So I played this CrowdStrike gap, phenomenal, and then this thing just went absolutely parabolic after this. Look at this consolidation phase, and then you break through that highs with that momentum volume really stepping in on this specific day, January 28th, and then just doesn't look back. So that's exactly what you want to see in breakout territory. So really good look, but we're down about 16.25 here from those highs. Reporting on Wednesday evening. I know a lot of people like owning CrowdStrike. I think CrowdStrike's a phenomenal company, to be honest with you. In my opinion, it is volatile. It's a high beta stock without any question, but I mean, yeah. But I mean, yeah. Like we just gotta be patient, right? We're down quite a bit. We're down quite a bit on that, but I'm gonna be patient. And some people in the chat are talking about Trade Desk. Yeah, like this is brutal. Was this earnings? Guys, can you confirm with me if this was earnings? I'm pretty sure this was the earnings day here on the Trade Desk, and it just absolutely tanked, and people are saying, yeah, it's ripping now, but we're not recovering anything of what we've lost here, guys. We're still actually in the red, and if you want to get overly technical, I'm still going to call this an inside day to previous session. So I'm not saying that this thing is overly in play just yet. So keep that in mind, guys. Let's see what everybody else is up to on the day. Joe, can you guys please explain a put wall and how to identify them?
That's right down your alley.
Yeah, that is right down my alley. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to explain it right now, Sharif.
Okay.
Why?
Oh.
Because tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about them, okay?
Nice.
So tomorrow morning, we're going to talk a little put walls, because that's something that I want to do, and having the ability to identify them. Now, if you're a book map trader and have the ability to, or access to heat maps, or you have the options chain, you'll be able to identify them extremely quick, okay? So make sure you make sure you tag in tomorrow or tune in tomorrow, and we're going to talk about that because I think it's really, really important. And one thing, now I'm talking about it, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, because now you got me going, and I really love this stuff. So I'm going to refer to from a heat map standpoint, okay? Bookmap is a tool that you have the ability to see what specific orders are at a level in a heat standpoint, okay? So the more orders, the more red. That's simple. The less orders, the less red in a simplistic way, if you want to use it kind of in a heat map analogy that Adara is always pulling up to see the performing sectors. But this is on a level 2 basis, all right? This is the order book shown in a heat map perspective. And you'll be able to see those identifiable walls, because there's so many orders at that one specific area. It's a standout. It hits you in the face. And this is what these can be identified as and utilized as. Is okay, is this a support level? Is the market going to reject it? Or is it a resistance level? Is the market going to reject it as well too? So just really, really keep that in mind. I think they're fantastic. And I bet you there's some people in the chat as well that use Bookmap. And I think it's such a great tool to utilize. And once you get more comfortable, like the time of sales and the level 2, you have an inside look as opposed to just looking at the book itself here. Let's see. So I have my quote highlights on. We don't see too much, but that quote that was just highlighted right there would be a lot more standout-ish, right? You'll be able to identify that compared to all the other orders because they dwindle. It is significantly smaller, and you're going to be able to see this from a heat standpoint. And it really helps you just like really identify without having to scroll all the way down in price. Like, oh, okay, is this a support level? Yes, it looks so. And why we utilize them is because it takes so much buying power and liquidity to push through those. You need someone to step in. If you have a heat map on Bookmap, if you have a wall to the top side, you need buyers to really, really push that through. And it takes a lot of volume. And that's why you can look at them as specific bounce levels.
Riley's continuing to break out, guys. Huge move here on RILY 528. Every time I look, it is a new high of day on this name. It's a heavily shorted name. We haven't hit triple-digit territory in terms of percentage up on the day. I mean, we're halfway there. I don't know if we do. It's going to really have to squeeze. Who knows? I don't put that beyond the realm of possibility, just given the short float. We're up. Wow, did you see that? Wow, man, these small cap gappers will never cease to amaze me about their insanity. We were at 530 something, and such a huge sell order came. It took out all the buy orders down into 503, but there were resting orders right there that bought it all back up. But if you had a stop, you probably got stopped out. I don't know if that's a specialist breakdown or what we would call a specialist breakdown, which is essentially getting everybody out, then moving the stock price back up on its merry way to the high side. But the reason I was so amazed by that is because there's just so much volatility in this name, and you think that, you know, oh, we've got a great support level here at 505, and yeah, that doesn't hold water for all that long. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. I'm very interested in getting back in here on RILY. It's going to have to be the right area. Otherwise, I'm going to steer clear. Guys, ATCH, for all those who love to short small cap gappers, I'm not one of those people, but this one is just screaming at me right now, flat bottom break. I mean, like, look at this, lower high. Yeah, I'll have to wait for the animation to be done. I mean, it's yelling at me descending wedge right now with VWAP at 850 being that lower line right there. It's been very respectful of this upper trend resistance line over here. I mean, if the thing, okay, so it's above VWAP. So I'm just trying to throw some hypotheticals at myself here. So if it doesn't end up manifesting a flat bottom break, which would be better for me because I don't want to take it short. What happens though if we get above 10? Well, that would end the lower high situation where we've been very respectful of that lower high situation. That would end that because I perceive this double top here to be an area crest. So that's number one. Number two, you would then breach that upper trend line as well. So you'd have two things. You've taken out an area crest and you've broken trend. So if this bad boy, I'm talking about ATCH, gets above $10, I could still be an interested long here. I won't be at this level, despite the fact that it's holding VWAP. Why? Because for the same reason that we just all saw on RILY, a big sell order can take out, you know, I don't know how many levels on the bid there. Whoa, I was going to take out my water bottle there. Right? But that's really the point with these small cap gappers. And that's why I always say use stops, use profit takers, blah, blah, because they're so bamboozling. So anyway, ATCH above $10 on a closing basis, I'm an interested buyer. I won't be a buyer, though, at 8.5, the area that's been defending, because I'm worried about that flat bottom break manifesting quite aggressively. All right, back to the other one that we've been profitable on, RILY, coming back in, defending 5. And then now weaseling its way right back above 505. Is that a real wick? It did breach below 5. In fact, it dipped into 491. Right back above 505 it goes. It looks like it wants to take out 510. Here's what we're doing. We're getting in. We're getting in here, and we're going to give it to 95s. That's exactly what I'm going to do there. So let's go ahead and hang out there for this. And if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But I'm not going to sit here on my hands and watch this thing make higher highs and higher lows. So I like to participate. So if I can get something to the high side, fantastic. RILY, bang, there it is again to the high side. Let's see if it can take out my next order. I'm waiting at 16s. Give me that print. All right, show yourself, Mr. Print. Let's go. We're going to hang out now a little bit higher. We're showing 16s. Are we? Come on, cross. All right, we'll have to wait for that. There it is. Boom, to the high side again. Now I'm waiting at 24s. Let's see if this one wants to bounce back up. I like that lower wick into a breach of 4, stops everybody out, reclaims 505 right away, and then we get a couple of prints to the high side. Now let's see if it can take out that $0.25. Just to give you guys some context, 528 HOD. So 524 will be south of the high day, so I don't have to worry as much, underline that, as much about sellers coming in near the high of the day. So we're going to give this one till 5 now that I've scalped out. It's not going to be a 494 stop anymore. It's going to be a $5 stop. So let's go ahead and throw that out there, and then we'll go just like that for the last remaining amount there. Let's cancel the old stop. I don't think I'll be able to get triggered into this one as a short, because probably a pay for short type situation, but I've moved up my stop now on this bad boy. If it wants to come back down, it's going to have to hold 5, otherwise I want no smoke. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Sorry guys, not too much in the way of small cap gappers that are great on the day, other than, excuse me, RILY and ATCH, and I'll submit to you guys ATCH, the best trade, is kind of behind it at the moment, and this QV CGB crap is just not tradable. It's just way too wild for me. I'm just looking at the top screen over here, having a look at the scanner to make sure that there's nothing afoot over here that we can kind of weasel into in small cap gapper world. Nothing to my liking, to be quite honest with you guys. If you guys see a small cap gapper that's making moves, I'd love to know about it, even if it's south of that dollar, if it's close to that, you know, dollar area, 85 pennies, 70 pennies, blah, blah, blah. Let me know about it, especially if it's a big mover. I'd like to know, because right now, all the ones north of $1, except our RILY, are really not setting up in any sort of good way. So that's the situation right now. Joseph, what do you got on your side?
We got Google cooking up here, my guy. This is exactly what we were looking for. So guys, let's see I mentioned the game plan earlier before. Okay. So if we were to break here, then the thesis is invalid, all right? So but we hold it and continue to move to the south side. And that's something that I want to see. But one person I have to give a shout out to, even though every trader here on the floor has helped me, is Obi. He's like, yo, listen, Joe, you got to look to add into these winners and utilize that unrealized gain to add into the winners. And that's exactly what happens here in this case, right? There's a term that we were talking before in the lunchroom, Sharif, I know you remember this, it's free rolling. So free rolling, in my terms, is just using those unrealized to add into your position to make it bigger without putting on more risk. That is the key part. You're essentially not putting on more risk, you are using what is unrisked and what you have unrealized. So free rolling here on Google, moving it to the downside. I mentioned that this was range bound and is one of the weaker names, so let's hope we can continue to move to the downside on this. We held this level, had the inability to construct a new high, so rejecting this pivot level, and then now heading south. We were in the money just a little bit. Okay, let me add some here to see what we can get going and make this position a little bigger than what it is. So that's what I'm looking at here on Google. I don't know how much further we're gonna go, especially if the market wants to recover. But right now, we are slowly curling over. That turtle shell type price action happening on the indices, and I think that's really important to note. So we did climb above the volume weighted average price, but now just slowly curling over. It may take some time, but the market is weak. And I mentioned it's for me, in my opinion, total subjective stuff. But when you have a session like Friday, it's so hard for that boat to turn around in a snap instance, right? You may get a recovery rally or something along those lines, but also just be prepared for that continuation to the downside. And look at the cues moving lower and lower and lower. So opening drive really weak, and then you get about that 30-40% retracement here, and then now going back to test the volume weighted average price with the likes of Google dragging the market down. So this is stuff that I'm always keeping an eye out for. This is working out really, really well for it. We're going to start to trim a little bit off of this position here now because we're starting to hit targets. 180.60 is a big level that I like here on this name. So if we tap into that, then we'll just continue to take some more off. But one thing that you need to understand, when you are free rolling, when you are using that unrealized, you now essentially have a trailing stop. It's not just like put on more shares and then like throw up a prayer, right? Like you're trying to throw up some game-winning prayer or whatever. No, that's not the case. You're tighter. Your stop now becomes tighter if you run into those unrealized profits and starting to come back. And that's the case here. So I don't give myself as much leeway as soon as I start to take those profits. But then again, let's hope we're not holding on to any form of prayer here, and let's see if we can hit that 1860. I got a little stuttered there because I just seen the Playmaker pull up, and I missed that thing. Yeah, I missed it. I'm like, wow.
By the way, we did it every day last week. We got the data for you to add in.
Oh, okay.
So make sure we're not skipping
okay,
those
we can't skip no lines there. So we missed. So you guys got the data. Actually, I shared it with you. Did you get it?
Pardon me?
I shared it with you.
I did.
Oh, okay, you didn't pull it. Yeah, that's fine. Well, that's all right. We can always get. But the thing is, though, you have the data to add in, and I think that's really, really important as well, too. Just continuing. And Sharif, I had people messaging me on X saying, "Hey, Joe, you did. Can we get the format for the Playmaker pool? I want to start collecting data as well, too." So yeah, people were actually messaging me about it. Yeah, so that's good, and I'm glad people are starting to do that. That's what we're here for, man. Hopefully just take that trading to the next level, and I think that's going to be the game plan. So are we ready? It's 1 o'clock. Let's get in it right now.
We're doing it live, Joe.
We're doing it live, baby. Let's see what we got cooking up. I'm going to leave a couple open spaces because we do have data to fill.
We got 3 different. So
okay, so this is V Trade 50. Hey, wow, that's insane. Okay, yeah.
We did okay. We were like, we gotta put some. We gotta
step it up here.
All right.
Let's hear.
672.
672.
Yep.
Bang.
That's the entry.
Yep.
We're gonna take everything out. 599.72. As a stop. Sorry. Okay. So you're looking for the beat weather?
5. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Beat weather.
602.72.
602.72. I thought we're in at 672. Oh.
So we're at
600. Oh, 672.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
672.
We got to backtrack a little bit. 672.
And then we're gonna take everything out. 602.72.
Bang.
And then we're going to get stopped out 599.72, which I don't like because that's above VWAP. But
is it? Oh, is it? Yeah, that's a tight one. So yeah, it's a tight one there. So there we go. Look at that equity curve, guys. They're just collecting data over and over. And then look at this. Imagine you're doing this at home. You're like, hey guys, look at all this hard work I put into collecting data and me refining my system. And you have data point after data point, and people are like, whoa, what is this? That's crazy. So yeah. Fun stuff. I'm loving it. We're in this Google short. What do you got, my guy?
All right. I was talking to Todd McLean there, and he brought up a really, really good question because I'm obviously involved in Apple as a long-term investor. It seems as if so is Todd McLean. I just want to read his first entry, and then I'll read his second one, then we'll chime in here with the answer. So he tagged me. He's like, no mention of how Apple investment is going to stop them from buying back shares, question mark. Sharif, this is a big deal for long-term investors in the short term. He goes on to say, I read that from an analyst that is highly unlikely they invest in buybacks versus massive change to their own chips. That's a great look there. But I think we're missing some information. So let's look at this article right here by the Wall Street Journal. Apple's $500 billion is mostly already in the books, reports the Wall Street Journal. Goes on to say, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but he's like, unclear though is how much of the planned spending is actually new. Apple has spent about 1.1 trillion over the past 4, are you kidding me? 4 fiscal years on total operating expenses and CapEx, and Wall Street expects nearly another 1.3 trillion in total spending over the next 4 years, according to consensus estimates by Visible Alpha. While Apple doesn't break out its expenses per geography, about 43% of its revenue comes from the Americas region, which it defines as North and South America. Assuming the U.S. constitutes the large bulk of that number, and if spending is about in line with revenue, then a rough figure of about 40% of projected global spending through 2028 fiscal year equates to about $505 billion. So what they're trying to make the case for there, Todd, is that none of this is new, or so it seems. If you are to accept that premise, and I'm not accepting it, I'm saying if you are to accept that premise, then that should not influence the buyback program because that have already been earmarked with this already on the expense side of the balance sheet. So we'll have to wait and see, but that's a great question there, because if you're invested long-term in Apple and it's a decision for you as to whether or not you want them to buy back shares, and I think they had a share buyback program of over $100 billion, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even more, well then, do you want that spent on R&D, AI, building out these data centers, building out these factories that are going to make AI servers, apparently? That's what I read this morning. Or are you more inclined to want them to spend that money on share buyback program? I would submit to you that in the short term, I'd like for them to buy shares back. But if I'm going to be a long-term investor in this, definitely R&D. Especially you want them to keep their competitive edge with, the chip design staying in-house, being vertically integrated. I think that's their goal. They seem to be wanting to do everything through vertical integration. They keep kicking out Qualcomm. They kicked out Intel. And they keep making their own stuff in-house. Well, why does that matter? Well, ask BYD. Ask Tesla why vertical integration matters. It matters. It keeps costs low. It increases margins. It's a better look if you can handle it and if you've got the money. Submit to you, Apple does. So it's a great question on your part. I'm just thinking out loud. I may be wrong on a lot of this, but that's just my thinking there. So that's a great question by you, brother. So shout out to Todd. I was just reading Borja there. Stop 599.72. Joe got it wrong. Yeah, we fixed it, Borja. We're good. We fixed it. All right.
They're paying attention, though. That's good.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah,
I do like that.
You know what I mean?
Respect to Borja.
Yeah.
Guys, Riley did lose the bid there, but we are still above that volume-weighted average price. And if you're looking at area troughs and area crests, we're still putting in higher highs and higher lows. That 470 area did hold generally. Now we're back down to 475. But if we give up 470, I will be looking at around low 460s. Only reason is because that's VWAP. So I might want a quick bounce trade, but I will be concerned if we do break below that 470 area, because that'll be the end of the higher high, higher low pattern on RILY. Let's have a look at the 5. This is kind of what it looks like on the 5 right there. So if you're looking for this area hold, we're still holding. It seems like there is some buying here coming in at the $0.75. Unsurprised by that. So that's my lookout there. Let's see what everybody else is talking about. Drops trades. Watch QVCGB. I know, brother. We've been talking about it. Joseph Birch saying the same thing. Just popped up on my scanner. 50 cents a share. 13 million involved. Also QVC. I realize that, brother. It's just I've been watching this one for a while now. It's just very hard to trade because it barely can stay open, and it's the halts are going past 5 minutes. So that's just not my cup of tea. To trade those ones, but I will continue to call it out because it's the #1 winner on the day, up 638%. Bhavin, what's Bhavin up to over here? Let me have a look at what he's saying. Bhavin Patel. Yeah, everybody's talking about QVCGB. The hardest ticker to say, by the way.
Yeah,
that's a lot of.
That's a tough
yeah,
one.
it's a tough one, Joseph. I'm not inclined to be able to say letters. Halted again, but looks like you can trade QVCGA. QVCGA. Show yourself. Ah, look at this, Katina, man. Now we got something over here. Now this is south of the dollar area, QVCGA. These are all obviously interlinked some way, somehow. I don't even want to bother getting into it right now. But there we go. So this is a good breakout here. Good continuation. So this one's not halting nearly as much as the other one, but they look like they're both breaking out at around the same time, give or take. So this one really got the volume behind it there at 12.56 on the one. Let's see when this bad boy started breaking out. No, QVCGB was breaking out before that from like 11.45. It halted at 11.47 for 5 minutes. So this one was already breaking out. So this was a late bloomer here, QVCGA, $256 million market cap, up at 59 pennies. But a good derivative here. Let's see if they actually trade similarly. And I don't even know if we can make that assessment because the other one is halting to no end. So we'll have to see. Keep an eye out on that. Drops trades. No, it's the evil twisted sister. I like that. Get it, Drops. Joseph Birch Music. That is the one I was talking about. Okay, so Joseph talking about this bad boy over here. This is a good look, man. Joseph Birch, this is a really good look. It's predictable higher highs and higher lows. You're getting wicks off predictable levels. It's at the high of the day. It's a good move up. It's earned its way onto the side chart. Whether or not it is south of $1, we're kind of light today on these small cap gappers. So we're going to have to make allowances here for some of these ones that we don't typically trade. It's earned its way already onto the side chart. And it's going to be an easy decision today as to which one to take off, Joseph, because most of them are breaking down. And yeah, so we're not going to really worry about taking off one that doesn't hold up. Now, just to talk about Riley here for a second, because we've been involved in this one multiple times. Right now, we are getting that $0.75 hold for now, underline that for now, which is by definition, by holding up at that 3.25, a higher low than that 468, 467 low that we put in last time. Whether or not we're able to hold above 5 for any prolonged period of time, and we haven't been able to, as you can see there by the price action. Every time we move above 5, we're selling off. So that is a bit of a problem there. I just want to shut up my buddy today. Like, I don't have too many friends that watch a show. That's not true. I have too many friends. I have one friend that consistently watches the show, my buddy Hashem. But my new buddy of mine today is watching. Shout out to J-Hope, Justin Hope. Thanks for joining us, brother. And catch us every day. You know what we do around here, man.
What's up, J-Hope?
So shout out to J-Hope. Just want to give him a shout out there. Now, I'm marking the time there, 1:10.
1:10.
In case he accuses me
I've not given him a shout out.
giving it in. I know exactly what
Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, I got to call my brother, too. I never called him.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Devo,
Devon, yeah.
Because I have a buddy named Devon.
Yeah, Devon, yeah.
And there is that. I have another buddy named Davon. Right? And so it's kind of, there's so many. And there's Devin.
Yeah, right?
Like,
yeah, so that's,
so many.
they get, so like it's Devon and Devin are spelled the same, maybe unless there's an I instead of an O, but yeah, people mix my middle name up with Devin, but it is not. And that's okay. But yeah, here we go, guys. Google, we're out of this now. I just mentioned when you do decide that you're going to use those unrealized, you now have to trail that stop and be prepared to get out earlier because you are now carrying more share sizes, all right? So we're out of this Google trade, continuing to hold on to, we didn't let it cook. We're not going to get the bottom of this range. I mentioned before that, like, hey, we're forming these higher lows. which is really important. But that trend line is very much intact, as you guys can see here. So touch on those higher, on those lower highs or higher lows. Sorry, guys. And then yeah, that's that on Google. Let's see what we got on Palantir. Still holding this one. We now just went into full consolidative mode, trading sideways for a large portion of this session from 11, just before lunchtime, all the way until now, just trading sideways, hovering in between that volume weighted average price. I think that's really key. Keep an eye out on. Let's see what we got going on it from a daily perspective. I mentioned that we were down 20% off of those all-time highs. So that I'm not going to call it a knockout blow, but you don't want to be that trader that's buying at the top, right? And everybody's just boom selling. So if you got into that 125, then I don't know, reassess and see what you got going on. But here we are, nice sell-off. We have now breached the gap to the downside. And one thing that I noticed that in these strong names, for us to get this full gap fill, that's going to be down to 84. And my good buddy Greg V would classify this as a small gap fill, a soft gap fill, sorry. But a hard one would be down to 78. And I'm like, ooh, that would be really, really hectic. But if we do come into those levels, there's going to be some support. And I think that's going to be the case here in PLTR. Just to go on a monster run like that and then the momentum to be completely wiped out isn't always necessarily going to be the case. I did mention to you that stocks can be in play, but they can't be in play forever. But I don't think it's dwindled just yet on this name. So let's see how much we can recover on Palantir. I was like, hey, Sharif, I would like this name at 100. We're now south of that, so I'm sure there's more than one person thinking that, and we'll just be patient on that name and see where it brings us.
Yes,
now, Google, we're out of that one. I think it's looking like it wants to break out, forming that wedge here, guys, in Google. Alphabet, again, gaps up really hard, really strong pre-market action. Seems to just be a liquidity grab before it just sold off and giving up all that pre-market gains back. But again, holding onto these previous aftermarket levels really well, almost to the penny, as you guys can see here. So let's see if we can break through. It won't take much. Some positive name catalysts coming out on Alphabet, then I think that we climb higher and higher. Now, guys, Baba, yeah, win. I'm pretty sure it's not Nugent, it's win. But here we go. Let's take a look at Alibaba Group. For you, those who are paying attention, I'm going to say this humbly. I was trading this from my balcony, and we had some fun on it. You
can stop mentioning that.
I guess, all right, I'll stop mentioning it. Sorry, yeah, all right, yeah, they're getting sick of me. They're getting sick of me on that one. So here we go. But we were talking about this before. Sharif was like, hey, I think these ADRs are somewhat of a buy all the way down here. And I'm like, yeah, man, you're right. But again, we just go on this nice run, earnings report, and then just give back a lot of those gains here. And it's just like day after day, right? Because these are ADRs, they're not trading here. You just get these gap ups, gap downs, gap up, gap down. And that's really tough to sit through. It's not something I would necessarily want to be doing. It just heightens the stress level, and you don't need that. So, but you can see, look, the volume really kicking in here. That's really important. And then now the expansion in that average true range from a daily perspective. Like if you're trading it within here, this is not fun. You're not going to have a good time, all right? But up in here, much better price action. This is exactly what I want to see, but it's minus the fact of the gap up and gap down, but it's a positive sign for these Chinese ADRs, Sharif.
All right, I want to look at Trade Desk here let's find out who it is. I forget their name. I do apologize. Mohammed. All right, Mohammed, let's have a look at TTD. So it's a very ugly chart from what we're looking at right here, but we're going to get to some silver linings. So it seems as if that all-time high, let me make sure this is a high because, you know, the pandemic had a way of making all these highs look, okay, yeah, so this is all-time high. Okay, so I start with the daily. So it's very ugly in the sense that we've breached the 20, we've breached the 50 moving average, breached the 200 moving average, and you're very close, Mohammed, to getting that death cross. Look at that red line. It's about to cross that blue line. That's what we call the death cross, and you haven't had a cross between these two lines since February of 2024. So it's been a year that those two lines, the blue and the red lines, have not touched. And they haven't touched quite yet, but you're getting awfully close. And I submit to you, you probably do get the golden or the death cross very soon. So he was asking me this. He wants to know, is it a good time to buy? So there's this area right here that I'm looking at as price action support on Trade Desk. That looks to me to be the offload of the yen carry trade. That's Black Monday from August 5th. and it was bought up, and then it made all-time high subsequent to that. So that's a $75 area. Now, we did technically get into 70.40 on the day, but it's not about what we do intraday, Mohammed. It's about that closing print. I want to know about that committed money, that money that stays after 4 o'clock, the money that stays overnight. That is the money that I want to know about. The closing print, in my humble estimation, is the most important of the prints. So that's what we're looking at right there, and right now we haven't closed below that level. So $75 could be a price action support level. So now this is the daily. Let's flip to the weekly. Let's see if we can discern anything here up from the weekly that we couldn't get from the daily. And what I'm seeing is we did technically breach that 200 moving average on the weekly, but there's the rule. It's called either the 3% rule or the 3-period rule. And I'm going to tell you what that rule is. So if you go by the 3% rule, you're looking for a closing print north or south of the indicator that you're using or the price action level that you're using by 3%. In this case, we haven't closed below the 200 there by 3% on the weekly. So that's number one. Now, if you're using the 3-period rule, you're looking for 3 periods. So if you're charting on the weekly, that'd be 3 straight weeks that it closes below the 200 on the weekly or on the daily or whatever time frame you're charting. It's fractal. So I'll submit to you, we haven't done either of those yet. We haven't given up that $75 level, which was, again, the Black Monday in August, the yen carry, the unwind of the yen carry trade. In addition to that, we haven't had the 3% break of the 200, nor have we had the 3-period break. So keep your eye on it. Now, that's from a technical sense, Mohammed. I know that the trade desk, they deal with advertising. They're cloud-based, obviously online advertising. I don't know too much about them in the way that I would know about Meta, in the way that I would know about Google, and even some others like Snap, etc. So I don't want to give any sort of commentary on the fundamentals because I just don't know about the company. But that is the silver lining right there. The silver lining is we could hold that $75 August low. We haven't yet. We could. Number two, we haven't had that 3-period or that 3% break below it on the weekly. I would wait, before punching in. That's just my inclination of what to tell you here. Obviously, it's not financial advice. Do as you like and do what you feel is best given your own situation. So the trade desk, interesting technical areas. Obviously, an ugly, ugly sell-off from those highs, Joseph, that we put in early December. Just give myself a little bit because I'm curious. Yeah, dude. We're 50% plus off those highs. That is ugly. Yeah, man, that's real ugly right there. A 50% loss on there. Ugh. Yeah. I've been in some bad trades there. I lost 25% on one trade called Pi in Pinge. That was I think the worst trade I've ever had for me. Usually I get stopped out pretty quickly because I have tight stops on my swings, but that one I did not. I got smoked on Impinge. So I hope that helps, Mohammed. Yes, thank you. You're welcome, brother. Everything. Hope you're doing well. And we also want to find out if the human algo at the big desk is doing well as well.
Thank you for that Law and Order chung there. I saw a volume spike. So surprising. I had to double check to make sure I was seeing it correctly, and I was. BRKB here popping to the upside. This is Berkshire Hathaway. We knew we had Berkshire's earnings here. They also had Warren Buffett's annual letter here, so certainly some things of note here for Berkshire, but apparently Berkshire A actually reaching new all-time highs. BRKB, great push to the upside here, currently above $500, so keep an eye out on BRKB, but be careful. This name is spready and a bit more expensive. Back to you.
Who's that lost one? Was that you, Fabian? That was you? I remember. Okay, so Fabian, I think Fabian had a really good idea with Save. And so Fabian's in the chat, he's like, oh, I lost 100% on Save. Brother, I'm more sympathetic. I could not be, but I want to talk about why this was a good trade for Fabian. We had heard a lot about the former Federal Trade Commission put in the kibosh on every deal that came before them for a period of 4 years. Lena Khan, the wrath of Khan is over. But Lena Khan was basically of the opinion that, mergers and acquisitions need to take, a little bit of a pause, let's put it that way. And so no deals were getting done. And Save was one of those ones as well, because it was trying to merge with JetBlue, and then we heard of it trying to merge with a different headline. So when Fabian took this trade, I thought it was great because we had rolled into a new administration. We were going to get a new chair of the FTC, and I thought the deals would go through. But, you know, timing was definitely not good for this bad boy, as, you know, the deal could not get done in time. And am I looking at the right one? Yeah. This is not even it anymore. This is on the London Stock Exchange. So Save, let's find it there. It's not even listed anymore, isn't it? Fabian, what's the ticker now for Save? Same thing. Yeah, it's not showing up on my thing, though. So... yeah, it's on the OTCs, right? Yeah, no, I don't have it right here, but yeah. So I mean, look, you get rinsed on trades. That's kind of how the deal works. But you just, you know, you try to do your best and hope that your winners do better than your losers.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the importance of the stop losses, right? Like, you guys know that I've lost 100% on Aurora Cannabis. Yeah, like, yeah, you know what I mean?
I still can't believe the price on that, dog. Like,
yeah, like my average is like
Save Q.
Yeah, it's like $1,400. Like that's
more than 100%.
Yeah, it's like 101% loss. Like I owe them money or something along those lines, right? But
yeah, I was having trouble believing you when you were telling me that because like I didn't see the zillion amount of splits that it had.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so it had those reverse splits, and just for those who don't know what I'm referring to is like during that weed craze, the Canadian weed craze, bought Canopy Growth Corp, Afria, and Aurora Cannabis.
Not everybody when you bought it though, bro.
Yeah, in like 2016, 2017, right? I did very well on them. Yeah. And the loss, it doesn't dwindle, or it doesn't pale in comparison, I shouldn't say, but it's a smaller, it's a 5-figure loss, but again, it's still a loss. Yeah, I had these shares, and then they just kept reverse splitting, and one morning I wake up, and I wasn't that informed, I didn't know what a reverse split was, and I thought that I recovered. I'm like, yeah, nice, I should be back up, but it's like I'm down more money now, and it's like, I was like, yeah, what is going on? But yeah, so that's my 100% loss there on Aurora Cannabis.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It went up in smoke. It didn't do good. So,
you got the woo.
Yeah, we got the woo from Madeira. Put me in the pun contest. No, don't put me in that contest. Yeah, do you have enough? Do you have enough to sell calls on Canopy Growth Corp? No, I don't own that. I haven't owned that for years now. Probably half a decade, maybe now. But here we are, guys, looking to add on to this Palantir. We did this, yeah, because of the consolidation phase, and we popped up. I seen that volume step in on the 1-minute time frame straight. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can add a little bit here. We didn't add much. We're already out 95% of the position, and then we just add maybe back a little 5% there, if that. Looking for this breakout of this range, and I think that's going to be the case here in Palantir. Palantir, really like this for today's breakout, and let's hope that we get it. If the market starts to recover, then Palantir will join, and we are still hovering above of the VWAP on the SPY and the Qs, which is really important. We need these big names to recover. We got some bills to pay, guys.
Each year, Joseph, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the United States, yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Oragenics under ticker OGEN is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Check out that QR code on the bottom right of your screen, or go to oragenics.com and find out more. Obviously, we had Brett Favre on last week to talk about that, and we thank him for coming on. Thank him for talking about such a sensitive topic that's affecting him, and the disclosure that he was able to give us there. And I thought your questions to him were amazing too. And I felt like he was really happy to be on. I don't know if you got that feeling as well, but that was my impression there. And so we would love to have him on again, man.
That was Wednesday, right? The day I left. That I left. Thursday, was it Thursday? Yeah, because I was in. And I heard Brandon say we're gonna have Brett Favre, and I'm like, is there another Brett Favre, or is it like the Brett Favre? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna chime in and rewatch that because I'm curious to what he had to say.
Man, he gave us his honest opinion. Obviously, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and he's you know.
Yeah, he's a big advocate. I mean, he was plagued with it throughout his career too, right? Like concussions and everything along those lines.
And like the thing is, Joseph, what really kind of hurt me a little bit was the lack of knowledge, and nobody's to blame about this, about concussions, because like he was talking with his doctor, and he's like, "How many concussions do you think you've had?"
Yeah.
And he was like, 3. I know I've had 3. He's like, yeah, try 300.
Yeah.
Because all those hits, they were undiagnosed, bro. And
he used to get like he was a player, right? So he would be taking the brunt.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
And remember back in the day, there were no protect the quarterback, roughing the quarterback calls, man.
If you touch them now, you got 15 yards against you. Yeah, it's 15 right against you. So yeah, guys, if you haven't checked that out, go check it out because I'm gonna do so myself and see what everybody has to say about that one. So.
And here it is, guys. Thank you guys for chiming in the chat, letting me know this is the ticker SAVEQ. So you just had to throw that Q on there. It's still available. It's still trading. I mean, it's not gone anywhere. It's around 50 pennies. Whether or not this company is able to recover or whatever happens there, you know, we'll have to keep an eye out on that. But yeah, Save. And look, I don't want to disrespect the company, but they don't really have a good reputation. Obviously, I'm sure people have seen the videos about Spirit Airlines, and there's all sorts of funny. Yeah, sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're violent, but there is lots of stuff that seems to take place, Adara, on the airlines and at the check-in. So, yeah, Save, I hope they do well. I don't want a company to go bankrupt. Obviously, employ people that need these jobs. So we're not going to champion anybody going out of business.
Nope.
All right, back to trading over here. Guys, QVCGA. It's time for us to load up that bad boy because it's trying to work its way back above VWAP, and it gave us a huge retracement off that top. So let's load that QVCGA. I believe it is on the NASDAQ, and I am right. It's a penny stock around that $0.50 area. This one did move up into 62.5 pennies. It is a sympathy play likely for QVCGB. So the other one is about $15. That GB is $15. It's about, 15 1/3 right now, while CGA is about 50 pennies. Both are kind of, giving it back a little bit. QVCGB still well above VWAP. VWAP's about $13, trading at 15 1/3, while CGA is trying to get above that 50 penny level where VWAP is just south of that at around 49. So I'm going to keep my eye on both of those, but neither of which really is tradable for me at the moment. Riley's also not tradable. It's broken down below VWAP. It's trying to hold up at that 4 1/3, 4 1/4, but that doesn't matter to me. I don't trade these as a long south of VWAP. I just won't do it. ATCH as well. We were talking, waxing poetic about how this one was looking like a flat bottom break. Well, it did break. It was exactly that. So this one gave up the ghost at 8.5. Now the local low is about 7 1/3. It's trying to work above 8. This was what we were looking at over here. Multiple defends on the day at $8.5 on ATCH. But the most notable part of that 8.5 dance was the umpteen amount of lower highs that we had, despite holding up at 8.5. That usually is classified as a descending wedge. And the descending wedge, when we give up that support level at the bottom end of the triangle, it usually is a pretty violent move to the downside. And I'll submit to you, it's exactly what we got here. We were dancing at 9, now we find ourselves at 7.5, looking to even make lower. So big boy moves today to the top side for ATCH, but giving back a little bit over here. Still up 221%. But not tradable under my system anyway. It's got to get above VWAP. There are no small cap gappers right now except for QVCGB that are trading above VWAP, and I don't want to trade that because it's just awfully volatile. I'm looking at some of these new ones over here. PEPG up 90% below VWAP. YYAI up 99% but below VWAP. So yeah, that's kind of frustrating when you have big boy winners like that, but they're giving up the ghost and they're not tradable. Well, under my system anyway. So we'll have a look at these mags then. I mean, if we can't trade the small cap gappers, then we got to trade something. Let's have a look at the Mag 7 and see what's doing what over here. So very similar looks to all of them right now on the Mag 7. Let's have a look over here. They're all basically down at the open and then very consolidative sideways subsequent. Some are making higher highs and higher lows, like Meta, for example, getting above VWAP. Microsoft, as I've mentioned, it was using VWAP as support. It's knocked on the door of 405. Then you have Google. Google's been using VWAP as resistance. But most of them, if not all, are making higher lows and higher highs after that kind of move down. So that kind of bear flag setup that we've talked a lot about, manifesting on basically all of them except Apple. Netflix is trying to recover over here. As I see it, Netflix is now positive on the day. So not one that we trade often over here, but the reason I talk about it, because I've included it with the Mag 7 names. Yeah, well, Adara loves that because they're obviously spready tickers, and I'm sure. Have you traded Netflix before, Adara? Not recently. But she has, yeah. Well, I figured it was right down your alley with spready tickers. Yeah.
I love it.
All right, on its way back into 107. We were really low there at 985, so we're well off the bottom. Looks like a double bottom there, Joseph, at around 985. It's still off the high, though. That's about 115. That $1.15 area was the implied balance high that we still are yet to reclaim. So, yeah, sideways action today in the Mag 7 world. Let me know what you guys are looking at. UCSFCU? Come on, bro. How many? Yeah, come on, bro.
What?
He wants to know your thoughts on Riley, but I already kind of gave my thoughts. How about your thoughts on Riley now?
Me?
Yeah.
My thoughts are probably identical to yours, man. I think that's more along your lines. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna pull it up. It's RILY, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's see what we got. I can't even pull it up right now. For some reason.
It's on the Amex.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I should still be able to pull it up here. RILY and just see what we got going on. Yeah, it's not really working for me right now. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I got it now. Again, nothing short of what Sharif said, right? Like Sharif bottom wick this year, trades it all the way up here. I'm gonna leave it at there here for a good time, not a long time, I guess, if that's how you want to leave it. With this name, not too familiar, Riley Financial. I'm not even sure the catalyst on it or anything like that. But one thing that I did want to touch on here, guys, is that there's a good question from Jag, and I think we should touch on this a little bit more. And I think a lot of the traders in the chat will agree with us. Just give me 1 second here. So he says, how often do you guys catch yourself breaking rules? Do you do it because of FOMO or revenge trading? The answer is all of the above, right? But the first, we'll answer the first part, sorry. Second part is all of the above. But one thing is, yes, when you're in your earlier stages of trading, you break your rules more or less because you're an emotional trader, and it's kind of like, you're like, okay, yeah, what do I do here? I want to get more into this. We're going to send it to Adair because I want to be a little bit more detailed on that answer. Let's see what Adair's up to.
I just wanted to give the catalyst there and Riley in case anyone missed it. So we'll set the scene here. Last Friday here, so the last trading day we had, around 3 p.m., we had RILY finally drop its Q3 2024 earnings. I say finally because much like SMCI, Riley was in a position where if they did not give their earnings, they did risk being delisted. So they just made the cutoff. They had the earnings come in 1 hour before the delisting cutoff. We did have a push up on that reaction, but it is worth noting we did have a 270% year-over-year decrease for EPS. So it was not by any means a quote-unquote good report, but the fact that the report was filed led to a push to the upside. So RILY, this type of reaction, certainly one to keep an eye on ahead of SMCI. Just to clarify, that was indeed the catalyst for RILY, but it was also aided, I'm sure, by its 55% short float. So large short float and an SMCI type story here with regards to filings for RILY. Back to you.
Gonna get it too.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna send it to you in a second, Sharif. Let me finish up this question.
Sure.
Jake, again, we'll just touch back. He said, do you guys find yourself breaking your rules quite often? And I think in the earlier stages, the answer is yes. But as you get more experience, whether it be 6 months, a year, the faster learner you are, the better. But what I want to say is that you're going to realize that you won't be able to find success in this game if you continuously break your rules time and time again. It's that simple, in my opinion. The faster you learn that you have the ability to stick to your system and those rules, eliminate the emotional factor, the better off you're going to be. So Earlier stages, yes. As you gain more experience, you're going to realize, hey, I'm better off when I follow the rules. I have great days. Then I have those one-off days that just blow everything up. Eventually, you're going to be like, hey, you're going to feel sick of it. You're going to be pondering like, hey, why am I doing this? You clean that up. You lose a couple days. That's fine. You stick to those rules. You're going to gradually get better. I want to know what you guys think in the chat of that. Are you consistently breaking your rules? Yes or no? That is the question. Put it in the chat, yes or no, and we're going to get right back to it after this ad read, guys.
Newer traders, listen up. First month, it's free. That's right, we're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. You'll be able to analyze and strategize and then capitalize. Their platform, it's got everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with better backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips. I'm touching my fingertips. All in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. If and only if you're ready to elevate your trading, scan that QR code or check out the link in the description. Shout out to the great people at eSignal. And I'm using that bad boy up every dang day, Joseph. Let's do the little shameless plug over here for eSignal. It's got scanners. It's got hot lists. It's even got charts, Adara, believe it or not. But we got to send it to Adara at the big desk.
Thank you very much to eSignal. And also, I just want to let you guys know here, JP Morgan is on watch. Jamie Dimon, CEO himself, is actually speaking right now on CNBC. And he's speaking specifically a lot about Doge and tariffs, which I think is certainly worth noting. By Doge, I do not mean the coin. I mean the Department of Government Efficiency, this new government initiative headed by Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Now, what is happening here? Basically, he said that he has a wait-and-see attitude and approach when it comes to his views on Doge and tariffs. He said that if tariffs are being used to protect national security, that is paramount, and that actually will transcend the fact that it might cause a little bit of inflation. So he's saying he's not super concerned about the potential inflationary aspects of tariffs because he believes the national security element is, quote, paramount. That is pretty interesting there. So not dismissing the inflation fears of tariffs, but saying that they're kind of negated by other concerns. I think that's certainly of note here. He also said that consumers are, quote, kind of back, almost going back to normal. So some talks about consumer levels and also about these inflation and tariffs and Doge here from Jamie Dimon. If he says anything else of note, I'll let you guys know. But I think it is worth noting he is speaking right now, guys. Back to you.
For that, Adara, much appreciated. Now, guys, I'm just reading through this chat. Some people took the question seriously, some not. All right, to each their own. But one thing I really want to point out is a couple people have said rules are meant to be broken. Okay, if that's your mentality, that's totally fine. But eventually your rules will break you, all right? So just forget that. Don't if you think that they're meant to be broken, eventually the rules will break you, and that means that goes with blowing up your account, etc. But then we have the other half of that where people are like, yeah, this is exactly how I've been improving my mental. Anthony, love that answer. Just continuing to work on that, refine. You know how many times I've been on like the premise of just be like, hey, I've built consistency, I've done this. And then one day of rule breaking gives everything back just because you think, hey, I'm at the point where I can't be wrong. And then eventually you're so wrong that you just gave back a month's worth of profit. And now you're just like sitting on the edge of your bed. You're locked out of your platform. Your broker's locked you out. You're like walking around your house. You have to go for a walk and you're scratching your head. And you're like, why did I do that? All that hard work gone down the drain. And that's why I say, I think rules are extremely important. The more experienced you get, the more the ability you have to follow them because you know, hey, what I was doing before isn't successful. I found more success when I was more disciplined. I traded only at X time throughout the day. I traded only in-place tickers. I looked for tickers with the most high level of catalyst, and I stuck to that, and I built the system, all right? So that's just my opinion. For me, sticking to those rules, following those stop losses, following max loss days is what is really key to success. You hear Katina Man, 90% of traders fail. Well, one, the learning curve is extremely long, right? But it's also because people don't learn from their mistakes quick enough and just continue to do the same thing over and over again to the point where you have no money in your account. And I don't want that. I love seeing you guys here in the chat. right? I love doing all the play milker. I love sitting beside Sharif and everything, and I love talking to you guys in the chat. So just make sure, yeah, you can bend them a little bit as you get more experience, but don't continuously break them because they will bite you in the butt eventually. And I don't want that. You know what I mean? And yeah, and I'm loving what you guys saying, right? Like Adam DeLuce, ADL is saying like Joe, rules are fantastic. He runs more algos, but even so, those algos have certain premises that they have to go by. All right, there's certain criteria. He's just not clicking buttons all the time, right? It's really key. That TV has no sound on. Seriously, thanks for the message. Helps to know others struggle with this too. Yeah, and I'm glad that you guys are, because that's what I need to learn. And everybody's like, Joe speaking facts, all this. Joe, I did that in December, 3 months of gains went down the toilet. Think that is the market, right? Like, see, everybody's loving it. All those experienced traders, it's much appreciated, because I want the next person beside me to succeed as well too. And you guys should want that because it's better for everybody. So it's part of the game. I've been doing it for 4 years now. And the quicker you learn, the better off you are. And much thank you guys to that feedback into the chat. It's phenomenal, Sharif, if you read all those comments.
Oh, bro, yeah. The chat's undefeated. I mean, that kind of goes without question. But yeah, we love everybody. And thank you always for keeping us on our toes. Guys, I'm involved right now in Meggle. Shout out, I forget who mentioned this to me, but I kind of dismissed them because this was doing no volume. But for whatever reason, MEGL now, the volume has picked up. We're about 2 million and change. We're off the highs, 306 high. We came in and tested that 265 area. That's what got me into this trade. It's going to get me out if we breach 250. So I've already wet my beak there, and it looks like it is going to break down. So we end up getting stopped out over here. But this is an interesting area if we can kind of weasel in here a little bit to give it a little bit of a tighter stop. Oh, sorry. There we go. Let's try this now. Let's try it. Let's give this one the old college try. Where am I long? 49s. This is a VWAP pull. I'm going to give this one a try. Let's set up over here for a move up, possibly. It's not what I want to do. I want to do this. There we go. Now I'll throw that on there. So MEGL, topping tail candle through 306, comes right back down below VWAP. Looks like we're going to get stopped out again. Wow, this is giving back the entire move. Is it seriously going to do that? That's crazy. So let's see if this one wants to hold up. I don't mind holding this for a little bit, but it's going to have to hold up above 230. If it doesn't hold up above 230, then, I mean, it's giving back the entire move. And then there's really no point to this. Right now, we're about 1 penny out of the money. Now we're break even on it. Let's see if it wants to work up and get me some out there to the top side. Nimrod was the one that brought it to my attention. Shout out to Nimrod. Looks Nimrod, though, that there is a seller here at the $0.50, give or take, 48s, 49s. Let's see if we can take him out and then weasel back up. I'm in this one. It's up 40%. It's a former runner. I don't even need to look at the chart. I just know the ticker, MEGL. Adara, what's up?
Be aware here, keep an eye on Google and Amazon. Anthropic has launched its Claude 3.7 Sonnet and Claude Code. These are basically going to be available in all Claude plans. I guess so CLAUDE, not Cloud, but Claude or Claude. Basically, apparently, this is an extended thinking mode. It's excluded from the free tier. It's going to be priced at $3 per million input tokens or $15 per million output tokens. So just to recap here, Anthropic here with a new Claude 3.7 launch. Why are we keeping an eye on Google and Amazon here? Well, because Amazon has invested $8 billion in Anthropic, Google about $2 billion. And also, it's worth noting, apparently, Amazon Bedrock and Google Cloud Vertex AI are just two of the places where this new Anthropic Claude model will be available. So Claude new launch, keep an eye on Google and Amazon. Back to you.
Well, that was a short-lived trade. Yeah. As quickly as MEGL started breaking out, as quickly as it gave back everything, and I'm 0 for 2 on it. So we give back, we gave back the entire trade here on MEGL. Tried to scalp a little bit for a nice little winner initially, added what I perceived to be support, and then it gave up the entire go. So it's continuing to move down now into that $0.25. It's below VWAP, so it's going to have to get above 50 pennies for me to trade it again. I won't be taking too many more L's on this one unless it can get its footing and get its footing right above that $2.50 area and stay above VWAP. So MEGL, former runner, but it bamboozles us this time as it breaks right down off the highs and into local area lows. So a bit of a tougher one there, and it's continuing to sell off, so I don't feel too bad selling this bad boy. The future does look like it's headed to the high side here. I don't know how anybody else feels, but the future does look like it's putting in those higher highs and higher lows. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about over here on the set side chart. So this is the NQ March contract. Now I won't trade the NQ itself, but I'll look to trade the TQQs if I set up this way. So what I'm seeing here, umpteen amount of higher highs with this kind of flat top looking area at around 21,660, kind of a random area to have resistance because we closed out on Friday at 75, 77s. So you figured if it was straddling that 75 area, it'd make more sense with that area kind of being the previous area close and therefore act as resistance on the day since we're below it. So what's keeping me interested here on the future is we're putting in these incremental higher highs. Again, that flat top looks awfully interesting, like we could take it. Secondly, when I look at the Mag 7 in general, you know, you're getting a bit of a slope upward for this consolidation area. They kind of look like an upward channel on a lot of them, whether it's Softy, Meta, Amazon, or Tesla. They kind of look like an upward channel, even a little bit of, less so NVIDIA though, to be fair. NVIDIA, since we're covering off that V shape, it kind of has that 135 areas as resistance. And to be fair too, when I looked over to the Katina man, I said, what are you looking at? He's like, you're not that much, but I like 135 possibly on NVIDIA, and it makes a lot of sense because it's been rejecting over and over and over at 135, but this one is not putting in a bit of an upward channel. In fact, it looks completely horizontal with it essentially 134 as support and, you know, for the most part, 135 as resistance. So if you want to range trade, one's been in place since 1145. I don't know if you like this kind of range anymore, Adair. You seem to like the spready names, but yeah, there's a whole dollar range here on NVDA. Whether or not you're able to extract the whole dollar, a different story. Now, in case you're wondering what the hell NVIDIA is doing, well, NVIDIA reports after the bell on Wednesday. So, you know, it stands to reason that everybody's kind of holding their breath, wanting to know a little bit more about what they plan to do going forward, going to wait for that guidance, especially after DeepSeek. I mean, DeepSeek threw everybody that curveball. AI spending was going to get cut in whatever half, 3/4. Then all of a sudden, the hyperscalers report Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and everybody's spending tens and tens of billions of dollars on AI. So it doesn't look like it's slowing down there. Then this morning, we get another curveball there from Softy, telling us that Softy is going to reduce spending. Here it is. Microsoft has canceled for a couple of 100 megawatts of AI data center capacity. The company also halted the conversion of what they call statements of qualifications, which typically lead to formal leases. This strategy mirrors similar cost-cutting moves by Meta in the past. So they're looking to scale back their data center expansion as well. The company has let agreements totaling over 1 gigawatt of power, they've let them lapse. They basically let them expire. They've also withdrawn from several deals. Each and every one of those deals was involving about 100 megawatts of capacity. Despite all these cancellations, when they reported earnings in January, they did announce $80 billion in CapEx, specifically for AI-powered data centers. So, you know, analysts are kind of questioning what the deal is here. Is Microsoft, are they facing an oversupply of AI infrastructure? Are they changing because of its partnership with OpenAI? Is the CapEx going to come from over there? And there's going to be sharing with OpenAI and Microsoft vis-a-vis their partnership? Nobody really knows. So this was a headline today. We didn't get to it on the morning rundown because Microsoft's not doing all that much. So that's the look right there for Softy, and that's the only reason I'm bringing this up, obviously, is because we're talking about NVIDIA, and NVIDIA obviously leads to the CapEx for AI spend, Joseph. So I want to throw that in there because I don't think we talked too much about it on the show or in the morning as well.
Yeah, no, I think those are fantastic points. I agree with you there, my friend. Let's see what we got going on here with Palantir. We're all out of this trade now, so zoom in here onto this 1 minute chart, or 5 minute might be a little bit easier for us to see, and see what we had cooking up. So this is just like we're talking about rules, right? This is just pure example of following rules. Sometimes you're gonna go through the emotion like, oh, I followed my rules, but it worked out. I got out of the trade, and then it worked out later. But then you're gonna have those one where it's like, okay, I followed my rules, and it just continued to sell or whatever, going the opposite, and you're like, oh, okay, thank you. That's the whole point of them. All right. So in trade number 1, 1, 2, 3 is trade 1. I got out. Now I'm in trade number 2. Enter, add, all out. and then we add again here. So I just been in this trade up until here, come to the break even. I only had a couple percent left, 2 or 3% left of that trade, and then I just got out of it. But that is the trade. We sat in this for the whole session. You can see it here on the lower time frames where I'm adding and just slowly piecing it out at break even there now. They're same thing, a nice add here. Take those out, but this is all just one trade here. Always like this. There's multiple trades within a trade, so just keep that in mind. And then let's see what everybody else in the chat is saying. Thanks, my own nature becomes a hurdle in trading. I tend to be more bullish than bearish even on red days just because I'm naturally optimistic. And those are just days that you have to be hands-off. Not every day is going to be a bullish day. Not every day is going to be a bearish day. As you gain more experience, you're going to be able to identify those and then be like, hey, and then it's up to you to decide, hey, am I going to trade today or not? All right, so Joseph Birch might be a good thing to experience to make sure that there are any repercussions monitoring your decision making. That gremlin looking over his shoulder on the trades. Yeah, exactly. So that's just where consistency comes through. A lot of people in the chat were asking me, like, Joe, what makes you kind of follow your rules more often? Well, just gotta be like, aside from trading, just be more consistent in your day-to-day operations, and that will translate to trading. Okay, so like whether it's like eating clean, going to the gym, reading for an hour a day, or whatever it may be, just be more consistent in your day-to-day life, and it's gonna translate to the market, and I promise you that, guys, okay? So yeah, let's see what else everybody else is looking at. Put in some tickers. We only got about 8 minutes left on the show. Oh, whoa, who's that?
Okay, so I was gonna lead into this.
Okay.
So this guy.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so you know what he did on Saturday night.
Yeah, continue. I got a wicked story.
Okay, so that's why I was leading into this, because this guy's got dynamite in his hands.
Dynamite.
He's hurting everybody,
Look at him. He kind of looks like me a bit.
And you know what his name is?
Joseph.
Joseph Parker. Not Joseph Wilson.
Joseph Parker. Yeah, Joseph
Can you
Parker.
give us a little bit of information of why this guy's killing everybody?
Because you got dynamite in his hands, bro.
guy's serious.
He's a serious fighter.
260, Joseph.
He's a big boy. You know what I mean? He's a big boy. So the guy, I can't remember his name. I have a friend. Selena has a friend over in the UK that are really close, and he owns a boxing promotion. And the guy that Joseph Parker fought on the weekend is under his promotion.
That African guy from the Congo or whatever?
Yeah, he's under his promotion. So he's got some big names under his, he's like really growing. I forget the name of it, to be honest with you. It's like Boxer. That's what it is. It's Boxer. And
the promotion is Boxer?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's spelled different, slightly different.
Okay.
But he has, Forrest Whitaker under his name. Forrest Whitaker. So he's like a UK guy who does like the drunken boxing style. Yeah, and he's absolutely nasty. Yeah,
is he actually good?
Yeah, he's actually so good.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyways, the guy that Joseph fought was under his promotion, but he only had like a couple days notice, but leading into that fight.
Well,
and then he made quick.
So he knocked out this gentleman over here. Who, but to be fair, Martin Bakole, he took the fight on very short notice. So to be fair to him, I think Turkey was saying, he's like, we're going to have another fight for Martin. It's going to be really... So apparently he's a really good fighter, this guy that got knocked out. But did you see the knockout, though?
Yeah.
It was a temple shot.
Temple right on the top of the head. Boom. Yeah, right on top of the head.
The temple shots always, they're kind of like body shots. They're delayed a little bit.
Right? That's what people in the chat are saying. Okay, Trey, stop spamming the chat. I see that you say it's a fake knockout. It is very much real.
Trail, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
We say,
we don't want you to get, exactly. Yeah. Okay, say it one more time. That's it. Now you're going to get timed out. Now I got to put you on timeout.
Pissed off, Joseph.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Baby.
Said it too many times. But again, when you get hit on top of the dome, the reaction is delayed, right? So you can see he tried to hold it, but then it kicks in, and then that's when the wobbly happens. And I promise you that is nothing is fake when you got hands like that
and they
hit you.
Dude. That's the thing. So this guy's got dynamite in his hands, and he's another heavyweight, Joseph, that needs to be categorized as a super heavyweight. We can't. I got you. We can't have 210-pound men fighting 260-pound men. It's a different weight class. We need a new heavyweight division category. Exactly. Otherwise, these guys at 210 have to fight cruiserweights, and they can't fight heavyweight.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Super heavy.
So we definitely need a new categorization there. But I'm loving. I like what I saw from this guy. Humble. He's chill. He seems like he's got a good team around him. This Joseph Parker guy. So
I mean, when you're that big and you have knockout power like that, you tend to be chill because it's like, what am I going to get uptight about, and what are you going to do to me?
Exactly. Yeah. What are you going to do? Unless you pull out a weapon.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Sure. So that's funny.
Safe. It is a good idea to put a stop loss. Yeah, I hear you. Fabian. Safe. Is it a good idea to put a stop loss on mid-term trades, 1 week to 3 months, on good companies, something like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, or is it bad? Brother, look, what I want to say to you is, what are you doing? Are you investing? Is this a company that you're going to hold for 5 years, 10, whatever your time frame is? Or are you swing trading? I'll send it to Adair in 1 second. Or are you swing trading? If you're going to swing trade, you have to have an out. You have to say to yourself, I'm not going to be dollar cost averaging forever and ever more until I'm back in the money. If you're investing and your timeline is not, a few weeks or a few months, then you add to the position at key technical areas of support. Like, for example, we'll talk more about that. I'll give you examples in a second. But for now, we got to go to Adair at the big desk.
Keep an eye on Better Choice here, not Better Health. Better Choice, BTTR. Worth noting, not a ton of volume on this name today. About 300,000 shares traded on the day, but I think it's worth noting because we just got this volume spike to the upside, and it is another potential small cap mover here. We have a 1.37 million share float, and we're right now above $2. Basically, the news on this is apparently SRX Health Solutions shareholders have approved the acquisition of the company by Better Choice. 93% apparently of the shareholders of this company are supporting its acquisition by Better Choice. And apparently Better Choice will be now holding a special meeting on March 21st to finalize the deal. So basically, BTTR very close to a finalized acquisition of another company here, guys. Keep an eye on BTTR, but be aware, not a lot of volume as of yet. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adair. Yeah, just about 400,000 shares right now, guys. Good call out there, Adair. Appreciate it. Doing the dance with $2. Let's see what happens. But you were saying something, my man.
Yeah. We were just talking about the fights and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good stuff. Like that guy's going to be a beast and continue to be so. But when you get touched, like you said, when you're 260 pounds, it's really tough for you can't get hit too hard by those guys.
See the size of Terrence at the fight?
Is he?
Terrence is walking around 200.
Yeah.
What? He's going to fight at 168? Is he fighting 168 or 160?
I think so. It's like something
super
in
middleweight.
Yeah, something super middleweight. I think it's something. It's like 165 or something ridiculous. That's the problem with the boxing. There's too many divisions. I can't even keep up with them or anything like that. But did you see the? It was Hims moving.
Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, did you see Did you see the Sean Strickland Dricus Duplessis UFC title fight?
I'm not about
you're not a UFC. So those who watch it, so apparently Sean Strickland's coach is like, I don't think Sean's gonna join us anymore, because if you go into a title fight like that, then what are you training for? Because he did absolutely nothing. I think Sean Strickland truly is a one-trick pony, unfortunately. But that's how it is. We'll talk stocks in 1 second, because someone says if they can't sleep, they watch Secure Stevenson.
You're serious? You're just gonna drop the mic like that?
That's it.
Dude, Shakur is a good fighter.
I don't like.
He doesn't have power in his hands,
he's like Devin Haney, right? He's
a great fighter, though, dude. He's technically a good fighter.
Yeah.
I think that, Terrence was giving him love. You could see Terrence was really involved in that fight in a way that he wasn't watching the other fights, because I think he knows that there's going to be a fight between him and Tank.
Yeah.
And Tank's going to kill him.
Tank doesn't want to fight anymore, man. He said this is his last one.
I don't believe
that.
You
don't think
they're
so?
going to dangle money in front of Tank, and he's going to be fighting quick as you like. Guys, Hims, I was told by the chat this is moving up. I just want to point out the daily candle right now on Hims looks very, very bullish. Look at that hammer candle right there. We dipped down aggressively into about 433.81. We're almost $10 above that at the moment. So someone's buying up a storm here on HIMS. Obviously, this was an earnings loser, you could tell. Or I don't know if it was an earnings loser. Was it Adair on Friday? Hims. They haven't even reported yet. I don't know why I thought that. I was looking at that price action there from 9 a.m. on Monday. It zigged and zagged. It looked like an earnings winner. Anyway, the point is we're still not even close to that $70 area or $69 area we were hanging out at Friday. We're down at 52, but it is a good recovery off the lows. This is the 5-minute chart on him. So we just printed the day high, 52.69. It's above the 10, the 20, the 50 VWAP. You guys get it. It's on one right now. Trade it carefully because it definitely had a bit of a weaker catalyst there, Joseph. But it is now 2 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Send them off.
It is. Hey, guys, great to be back. Glad sitting here at that desk. The talk we had about risk management and just following rules was absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys all for participating. Sharif and I will be back.
Oh, ATR, sorry.
Same tomorrow.
Sorry.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, 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 what's up?
How's it going, Sean?
Good, man.
How's your trading day been? Let's talk about that in a minute. It's
Okay,
been,
right. I mean,
it's been absolutely epic.
yeah.
We turned our day around like crazy.
Let's go.
And to these guys talking about UFC and everything like that, I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
how much money would you have to get paid to actually step in the ring and get the you know what kicked out of you, knowing